All right, it says preparing live webinar, and that normally means that we are live. So I'll start like this. We are live, we are live, we are live. My name is Tyrone Irvin. This is Soapbox Heroes. Oh, let me turn down my other sound.
Yeah, I think Prince froze up a little there. Prince froze.
Prince froze.
Yeah, he just unfroze. He froze. He
Oh
back.
yeah, I just
When
I get to my house, it usually kicks back in.
Oh yeah.
Hi, baby.
All right, you guys, we are here. I'm live.
Hey.
It looked like I'm at the podium at the White House, but I'm not. I'm just fronting. I'm just fronting. We got Greeland here and we got Prince here today, and we're going to be talking about politics. We got a personal little thread that we have going on. It's Prince and I, Salik, Greeland, Robert, and we've been talking a little bit in this thread. And so, you know me, I'd be like, well, why don't we just take this to the soapbox then? And here we have it. So today, again, we have Greeland. Greeland, you want to take a second and let everybody know who you are?
How's it going, folks? I'm a local Southern California self-made entrepreneur. I'm in various types of business. I'm interested in economic growth and sustainable growth. I take pride in seeing African Americans move forward in this economy that we have.
Okay, so yeah, you're a business owner and you take pride in seeing African Americans move forward in economic growth. What's your give us one tip on economic growth?
One thing I say about economic growth is your credit is very important. If you have credit, you're just about unstoppable. And I got some tricks that we're going to share on another date.
Yeah,
that you can do with your credit, and you can make your score go up overnight.
Overnight?
Pretty quick. I got some weird tricks that you never realize it until it happens. And I kind of I've done it, and what the bank said to me kind of blows me away. They said, you did so and so and so and so and so. That's incredible. I said, oh, thank you. And I said, okay, hey, they love it. So it's funny. Yeah, it's interesting.
Right. Okay. Well, I can't wait till we do that show where we talk about credit and helping businesses rise upward. I cannot wait till we do that, Greeland. Prince.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Prince. Introduce yourself, Prince. Let everybody know where you're at, where you're going, and what you're doing.
Oh man, you know what it is. Prince Hayes mean knowledge. You know, we're gonna do it. We're gonna try to get into this. I love to see people just have a healthy dialogue and talking about things that affect the majority of us. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what we're here to do right now.
Yes, indeed. And we are going to have a healthy dialogue. Okay, you guys, I picked a starting point I was telling you guys about earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so that people can see where we're starting.
All right, here we are.
All right. And look, and if you guys, this is a little inside, what do they call it? Making the sausage. This is a little inside of our yeah, this is a little inside of our conversation that we were talking about. And Greeland was talking about Donald Trump creating more jobs than Barack Obama.
Yes.
So Prince opposed to that, or he had reasons why that is. And so why don't we pick up from there? And like I said, this is going to be free flowing. We're going to talk about different political stances. We're going to talk about politics. Greeland has some things that he wanted to bring up. I'm sure Prince has some things that he want to say. So let's start right there with the jobs. Greeland, why don't you start first and talk about Trump creating more jobs than Obama?
Okay. The reason why Donald Trump was able to create what appears to be like more jobs, and I can make it very simple. Many of the regulatory things by the California Air Resource Board for California, for example, the ARB for the national side, they did away with many different type of environmental regulations that stop certain industries from manufacturing and doing things. So by him eliminating many of those types of things, it opened up industries that were already here that were dormant because of of Barack Obama era type of situations, because they were very, typically they're kind of like environmentalists with, they follow the California whack job. We call them the wackos of California and the tree huggers. They kind of want to have jobs, but they want to do things to interfere with jobs. The reason why I can say that, because in my business that I have, I'm overregulated. I know other people that have other industries, they're overregulated. I know a guy that moved out of California like me to Las Vegas, Nevada, because we're overregulated in California, because that's California. They suck money out of you for regulatory issues nonstop. I mean, it's not a business-friendly state. That's why at Tesla, they decided to move the battery factory over to, I think they moved to Texas, because California wasn't going to be fair to them. So even Toyota left California. They were here since 1961. They left. Headquarters left.
All right, and is that and what would be the reason? Earlier, like I said, I know what was going on inside of our text. Is that a liberal agenda, or what would you call it? I know you said the tree huggers, or
it's a liberal agenda. It definitely is, because systemically liberals have policies for doing away with things, but they don't have alternative replacements, and that's what the whole Donald Trump thing has been about. Okay, you guys have argument, but you don't have a solution. Same thing with immigration. You guys have arguments, but you don't have a solution. There's always argument, but there's not. They all can go sit in the same chambers together, Republicans and Democrats, and they can't solve nothing. Now, if you're representing the people, it's got to be compromised somewhere where you guys could come to a medium for the sake of the people. Don't you think so?
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Right. Prince, you there?
Yes, sir.
All right, Prince, you want to chime in? What do you think about the Trump and the jobs? And like we said, we talked about global warming right before we started. So and I didn't get your perspective on that. So that'd be good to go into. And also what Greeland said about the argument about people have about Trump, but they don't have any solutions to Trump or immigration. Go ahead, P.
Yeah. So starting off with the job situation, I mean, a couple of things. Actual numbers of jobs means little to nothing. I like saying that there are a million new jobs in America, right? In a certain period of time means nothing if the jobs don't pay people enough to live. So what is the use in a person being able to go work, but not being able to afford to pay rent or, like for an example, there is no city in the United States of America that a person can make minimum wage and afford a 2-bedroom apartment, right? The vast majority of Americans make under $35,000 a year. I think it's over 50% of Americans make under $35,000 a year. 80% of wage earners, 80% of wage earners live check to check. So who cares about? I don't care to say like I'm not in. I don't, thank goodness I don't fall into any of those classes personally, but if I were a person that did, I know that I wouldn't want to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know I wouldn't care to have a job or to be holding down a job or whatever if I'm working for what? Like, I can't get ahead. So I don't get caught up into these numbers of like, oh, like Obama created 11 million jobs, right? I didn't give a fuck that he created 11 million jobs because the quality of the jobs were poor. It was low paying jobs, and it wasn't enough. It didn't help people out of the hole. We didn't, get out of any hole. We just, a gang of people are working, but still everybody's broke. So what's the use in that? That would be the first thing I would say about the job shit. That like I said, I don't play the numbers game. I don't play because that's all they want to do. The politicians, a lot of times they just want to put up these numbers on the board to be like, oh, look how many jobs are created. But I'm like, but are they quality jobs? What's the quality of life? You know what I'm saying? Like, is the quality of life improvement, or are we just putting numbers on the board just for the sake of putting numbers so that when you aren't in office or when you're up for re-election, you can claim like, look, I created 10 million jobs and he only created 8 million jobs or whatever. Like, I don't care, Secondly, the notion that liberals want to destroy. I mean, and it's not Greenland's words exactly, but I'm a paraphrase. But they are anti-business is bonkers. I mean, and if we're talking about liberals once again, I would rather it be not liberals. I would rather you say Democrats, because liberals and Democrats are mutually exclusive. So you can't just say like liberals, because liberals don't want to destroy business in general, and Democrats definitely don't want to destroy business. Democrats are pro-business all day long. They are corporatists all day long. Obama was a corporatist. All Obama did was give to the big banks. He gave to the big pharma industry. He gave to the oil industry. He fed the war machine. He's all about making money all day long. So there's no proof of that Democrats or quote unquote liberals are anti-business because they want to regulate certain industries. And lastly, regulations are good. Regulations are good for people. They're good, or they should be good. Not to say, I don't want to make a blanket statement and say all regulations are good, because I'm sure some regulations are stupid and pointless and they're probably just a money grab and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to make that argument. But the idea that your industry or whatever you do should be regulated makes a lot of sense. And because what you do affects other people. So we don't want monopolies in America, right? Even though we do have a ton of monopolies in America right now. But we don't want monopolies, right? We don't want, we don't want, I remember back in the 60s and 70s, not I remember, but if you look it up back in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, I wasn't there, but you were there, so you can attest to this. So
I can.
The air quality in Southern California was terrible in the 60s and 70s. I mean, it's still bad now, but it was even worse in the 60s and 70s. It was way worse. And
right.
And I've seen, but you know what they did? They put regulations on the auto industry. They put regulations on the people who are buying cars and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's basically what happened. And that worked out for us, because look at it now, the air quality is much better. And, you know,
I could scientifically explain it better for you what happened.
All right, here. Well, yeah, let's get you in, Greenland, because I know you got some things to say.
I'll just pick up from the air quality part that he couldn't decipher. I'll break it down for him since I'm from that era. You know, believe it or not, in the 60s and 70s, gasoline was a color of, like a maroon burgundy. It had a rich, sweet smell to it. It contained large amounts of lead in it. The lead was intentionally put in the fuel because it lubricated the valves inside the older cars from the 50s and 60s. They had high performance and it had high content of lead for the engine's performance and reliability. Now, what happened was, for California, because I was in the fuel industry, it actually the last gasoline refinery that was built in California was built in Bakersfield in 1973. California environmentalists, quote unquote, they have gotten so strict, and they stopped the expansion and building of refineries. And we know California's been ran by Democrats forever. That being said, they tied the hands of the industry to expand more refineries to make the prices more affordable for the citizens of California. We have the highest gasoline prices in California. You know why? Because Democratic regulatory issues. Believe it or not, 1 gallon of gasoline has practically about 49 to 50% of that value of that you're paying at the pump is in taxes. So we just recently had a legislation they call the fuel tax. Everybody, the Democrats said, well, if you don't do this fuel taxing, we're not going to fix your highways. We got the worst highways in the country still. Let me tell you something. Every large vehicle, if it's a commercial vehicle on the highway, they pay a mandate tax every year of $750 for every truck. Plus the fuel that gets burned every time they buy a gallon of fuel, all that tax money. You know the amount of tax money generated by every motorist, whether it's myself, whether it's Mr. Prince here in California, per day, per week, per month. That money is such a Goliath number, you couldn't even punch it out on a calculator. But that's money that they can steal and hide, the politicians. You know, Nancy Pelosi is a relative of Gavin Newsom. So if you kind of look at the connection of these people are money hoarding thieves and crooks. Okay, California is monopolized. In other words, the Republicans don't have any voice in California because the way they streamline the districts, they kind of made it where they're going to continuously win over and over again. So it's kind of difficult.
So Republicans, so what? Republicans do the same thing. So what?
That's okay, well, I'm not here to say who did, don't do. I'm just saying what happens in California right now. Now, the second part we're going to talk about was what he was saying about the jobs issue. Let me tell you,
low quality jobs. He was saying, right. And Rich, you always know you could correct anything that I'm saying. I just try to make sure we stay on the right road. But Prince was saying that the job numbers don't matter if they're low quality jobs and people can't survive off of those jobs. Which
exactly. So let me touch on that. You know, growing up in the 60s and 70s, you know, my father was considered middle class, right? The money he was making. And the cost of living was pretty fair. My father probably made a moderate $50,000, $60,000 a year back in those days, right? But that was a lot of money back then. Gasoline was at like a buck or so a gallon. You know, my father bought a brand new house in Carson, California, paid 50 grand for it. Okay, now you can't even buy your front yard costs 50 grand. If you want to do landscaping, costs you 50. Just to give you an idea. So my point is this: he's talking about, well, you know, everybody's working, but everybody's broke. You can't get a surviving income. Guess what? Guess what happened? Many of these same people that he supports, they shot the cost of living up through the roof, and at the same time, they're benefiting off of living off of the taxpayers. They got security guards. They got government housing. They, you know, a governor, state lawmakers, they get benefits from the poor. They get money from the poor to pretend that they represent you to make your life better. Okay. The problem what's happened within these parties, especially the Democratic Party, they made a mandate, and they made a philosophy of saying, well, more government and more welfare is good for you. And my philosophy is, well, look, if you want to give the people something, give them something permanent. Like, give them a good education so that they could be in high positions like you in too. Why are you just going to say, well, I'm going to give you more wages? And then they go up on the taxes, and then you don't have wages. I spoke to a lady just the other day. She's in up there towards Barstow. And she told me that a 1-bedroom costs $1,000 over there. Then at the same time, she told me she used to go to the store, and she said she spent $100. And she said now for the same content, she's got to spend $200. Now in California, our tax rate used to be what, 6.75, and went to 7.75, 8.75, 9%, 9.25. At some point, you got to understand the people that you legislate and let legislate represent you is actually robbing you at some point. You can't keep saying the system, the Republicans, Washington. This is local, homegrown issue. I'm from California. I'm talking about California issues. I'm not saying on a national level, because we can deal with national, one state and one depressed place at a time. I'm talking about from California, the depression state of California itself.
So Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. Ronald Reagan started something called Reaganomics, which was we call it the trickle down effect, right?
So what you read about? You didn't live through it.
I don't care I mean, what does that mean? I didn't read about World War II, but I know about it, and I know what happened. So that means nothing. So just because you old don't mean that you have.
I'm not old, brother. I'm not old.
Greeley, you young. Tell him, Greeley.
I'm telling you, just because you're older means that you don't have it doesn't mean that you have a better understanding of things. I mean, your age is irrelevant. So I'm not playing the ageism game. You know what I'm saying? I'm 37. There's people smarter than me that's 22, and I listen to them. I don't care what age you are. If you know, you know. So
it's not about me and you anyway. This discussion is not about us anyway.
Yeah, but I'm just letting you know, because you were just trying to say, well, you didn't live through it. So what? That's relevant.
Well, I was going to explain the theory of Reaganomics. That's all.
But you don't need to though. I'm gonna do that for you. So the theory of Reaganomics is that if you I'm gonna make it real easy for people. So basically, his idea was if you cut taxes for the wealthy and you let them save more money, it will generate more jobs, and they'll put that money back into the economy, right? That was in the 80s, 82, 83, whatever, when that whole policy started. Here's the problem though. We're 40 years later, and we see Reaganomics was a bust. And that was your I mean, you want to talk about Democrats and Republicans. I don't like defending Democrats. I think they're terrible. So you're not gonna hear me defend the Democrats.
Not to correct you, but in '83, Reagan wasn't president. It was Bill Clinton.
Cool, man. 85, 86, 87. I don't care. It actually didn't even start with him. But that's
you go ahead and give your rendition, and then we'll listen. Yeah. And Breland, you could give whatever thoughts you have on it too. That way, we'll give both of you guys a start on Reaganomics. Go ahead, Prince.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Reagan was the one. It didn't start with him, by the way. It actually started with Nixon, but he was the one where it got really bad under him. If you look at the wealth inequality gap, it grew exponentially after Reagan became president. And the reason why was because he convinced the American public that if you cut taxes for the wealthy, this very small group of people in America, if you cut the taxes for them and you give them all of this money, that somehow, some way, they're going to spend all of this money and put it back into the economy, and it's going to create all of these jobs and so on and so forth. And history's shown that it doesn't happen. It's not up for debate. It's not an opinion. It literally did not happen. So that was a Republican. That was a Republican ideology at that time. That was a Republican policy that a Republican put into place, a staunch Republican. That was from your state of California that you keep talking about. So, but fast forward to now, we just have that is basically a continuation of what Trump just did when he just made his tax cut and cost the American people $2 trillion in this estate tax cut. So Trump is an extension of Reagan, and we could go. I mean, and that was 40 years ago. It ain't like Trump just started it. It's a continued policy. Trump, many Republicans and many Democrats have done this. It's not just this is not a this is a bipartisan issue. This, all the by and large, both parties do this. This is not just a Republican or Democrat thing. But when that happened, basically all the money went to the top 1%, and boom, there you go. No, the rest of us, 99%, we're left with a smaller piece of the pie, and we haven't been reaping the stuff.
Are you finished with the fantasies now?
All right, here, go ahead, Breland, jump in.
Okay, are you finished with that big fantasy story? I'm gonna give you a real.
That's not a fantasy story.
Okay,
hold on, Pete. Let's let him get his turn, Pete, and then again you can come back with whatever reply you feel necessary. Go ahead, Breland, you got it.
Just to give you the crux of things, when Ronald Reagan was actually the governor of California, California had prosperity, big in industry, the streets were clean, less violence, less crime, no immigration issues. A black person could be called middle class. A black person could have. Let me tell you something. Back when he was in office, we had hundreds of blacks that owned gas stations. The street I lived on, a black man, Mr. Johnson, owned a gas station. A brother. I know another brother that owned one in Pasadena for a while until he died. So I'm saying black people were growing back then. They were actually growing, and I could pull up the documents and show it to you. Now, all of a sudden, we made the transition to Democrats winning office. Even the Reaganomics that he was talking about, it was a plan. And it didn't necessarily mean that, we're just going to give the rich people breaks and then the trickle down. The trickle down thing was industry, in fact, did grow and black people did prosper. Okay. The problem what hurt a lot of the American situations back then was this. The import car industry, first of all, one of the biggest industries we had during this era was the automobile industry. General Motors and Ford start downsizing. They start getting into imports, start taking over the economy in our industry, meaning that these companies that hired many of these different people to work in factories, they start closing. That's why Detroit's in shambles. They start closing factories and jobs start leaving. These same companies start opening, what they call, Remember they start saying outsourcing? I said outsourcing happened in the 80s and 90s. They start outsourcing jobs overseas. It still happens. Now, my thing will be this. Like, I don't know if you ever call your credit card company sometime. You sound like some guys on the phone, you're talking to in Bangladesh. Now, what I would say was, how come people don't say this? Hey, look, as a consumer, if you don't bring that job back here, I'm gonna stop doing services with you. I'm gonna close my credit card account. Bring that job back to America. There's money in the people if you use your leverage. So we can sit up and say they did this, they did that, but we don't mobilize to do something to make a change and change the direction of the wind ourselves. We have to mobilize and do things too. We just can't say they got the power, they did it to me. It's not true. And economically, nobody has really said that a person gives you a job to buy a land yacht or buy a yacht, to buy your Mercedes Benz, to buy your big fat house. Apartments and rents, they go up because you have a bad state like California that don't care about people, and they let the gentrification is killing California right now. I'm sure you can relate to that. So the whole thing is economics. It's all economics. I don't agree with it, but it's all economics. Some people fall to the bottom. But there's never been a society where everybody's been parallel in the front since the Greeks, since the Romans, since the Egyptians. It's always been peasants. There have been people at the top, people at the bottom. This is nothing new. It's not like all of a sudden in America, people are doing bad. You've always had people that were doing bad in America. Then you have some.
That's irrelevant, though. Who cares?
Well, I'm doing a rebuttal to your statement. What you're saying that people are not getting a sustainable income, and that is true. And no, it's not true. Some people are able to do pretty well with sustainable.
Man,
hold on, let me finish. Some people are able to live sustainable lives and do well. For example, you got Hispanics. They'll live 4 or 5 in one house. They'll split that rent. They're living good. They're doing good because they know how to mobilize and work together to help Juan Carlos buy a home first. They save their money, and then Juan Carlos is going to work hard to help his brother get a house. They work together as a unit. So,
but you just said when you were a kid, your dad had a regular gig, right? He wasn't like the wealthiest dude on the planet. He was middle class though. He had a good job, and what did he do? He bought a home. He had a car. Y'all can go on vacations, right? Like that's how it used to be. Why do I need to live with 5 people in my house to buy a home now? That's crazy.
Hold on a second. Hold on. That's a good point. I appreciate what you said, but understand this. It was 8 of us. My mother never worked a day in her life. We were able to survive and move forward off of one income because the cost of living wasn't jacked up under the Democratic control.
That's not what it is.
This state was ran by Republicans and it was still prosperous for people who are middle class.
You missed the whole part. You just glazed over it. So you say
it's not the same anymore. In other words, listen, you can argue all you want. If you got a state that's controlled by Democrats, this is California.
Man.
This here the facts. Hold on.
All right, here. Look, let's do this. So you guys feel like you guys are getting your questions answered, or so we can get the disagreements out of the way. Prince,
okay.
You got a question for Greeland? Ask Greeland your question directly. Then Greeland, whatever questions you have for Prince, ask Prince your questions directly, and let's just answer the questions directly. And after we do that, we'll just roll on to the next subject. Go ahead, Prince.
So my question would be, why do you think that the cost of so if you understand inflation, right?
Yes,
if
sir.
you understand the cost of living goes up, okay.
Yes, sir.
What also should go up if the cost of living goes up?
Okay. Intelligently thinking, you would assume wages should go up, but here's a catch. Here's a catch. Don't nod your head yet. Just like that new legislation talking about $15 an hour for everybody in California. I did the math. They made $30 an hour. It's not going to help them. You know why? Because the taxes have already surpassed what they should have been. So $15 an hour minimum wage is not going to help these people because you got people already in California legislating to take the money from them. And number 2, corporate America is smart enough. They're going to put kiosks everywhere. Like McDonald's, they're putting kiosks in already. Burger King's putting kiosks in already. Wendy's are putting kiosks. So all they're going to do is reduce the amount of employees have a few cooks, and then an automated cashiering system. So you can't lick corporate America by thinking that you're going to force them to pay minimum wage for fast food workers. It's absurd.
Okay. So you answered the first part of my question and you went on some tangent. But the first part of my question you answered, right? The wages should go up, right? Okay, cool. Also,
in theory, yes. In theory, yes.
Reality, not a theory.
Reality. It's not reality. No, it's not a reality because it's not happening. So it's a theory. Don't you understand the difference in reality? Reality is real. Theory is.
Let me ask you my next question.
Okay.
Let me ask you.
All right, and then we'll get to your questions too, Greeland. So we'll do that. So you guys will both have 2 questions.
Okay.
So it'll be even.
So
go ahead, Prince.
Do you know that other developed countries around the world, Australia, Switzerland, various other countries, they have done what I'm suggesting do, which is pay people a living wage. First question is, do you know that other countries do that? And secondly, do you know what happens when they do that?
Yes, sir. And now we can get down to, I can explain this living wage situation to you. Now, so these countries you're mentioning, I understand that. Many of these people, they don't commute. They don't. Let me finish.
Man, I don't.
They don't. The cost of living that they have versus our cost of living, it doesn't equate to the same math. So it's easy for you to say that, but hold on. The cost of living doesn't equate to the cost of living in America. It's not the same math.
Leland, I don't care about your opinion.
I'm just telling you. It's factual information.
You're not telling me nothing. You're not giving anybody.
I can give the data. I can pull up the data for you.
That's not what you're making. You don't know what the cost of living is.
Hold on, you guys. Look, you guys don't talk over each other. And then Greeland, when you get done with your response, ask whatever questions that you want to ask too.
Please. Okay, I'm not finished. I'm just doing the rebuttal still. I'm saying he gave me a statement about Australia, and I'm telling you, the cost of living for those people living in their country in comparison to the cost of living in America, they're not equal.
You don't know that.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
What's the cost of living in Melbourne, Australia? You don't know. What's the average income in Melbourne, Australia? You don't know. What's the average income in Sydney, Australia? You don't know. You're just making that up. That's what I'm saying. I know you don't know that.
What are you talking about?
Don't get on here.
All right, hold on, you guys. That's quantifiable. Go ahead and go to the next thing, and I'll pull up a chart showing the cost of living by country.
Please do so, and then that'll put that to rest. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Greeland. Ask any questions that you want to ask. And
so, Prince, let me ask you a question. So you're suggesting that everyone in America should have a living wage that keeps up with inflation, right?
Yeah.
What you're saying? Is that what you mean?
Absolutely.
Okay. So basically, you're sounding like the typical Democrat that says what you said, but when it's time to legislate to make it happen, they don't make it happen.
Okay, so I don't care what they sound like though, because I'm not a Democrat.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying the people who oppose, the proponents of what you're saying, who agree with it, when they get an opportunity to sit down to legislate to make it move forward, how come it never happens with those people?
Because they're corporate. I've been trying to tell you, you act like the Democrats and Republicans are different. They're not. They're 2 wings on the same bird. That's what I've been telling you this since I met you. I don't like Democrats.
And I never denied it either. Have I ever denied that with you?
This is corrupt. Nah, you don't deny it, but you play, whatever. So
all right. Go ahead. 1 second, Prince. Don't lose track of what you're saying. We have right here, it says comparison of worldwide cost of living.
There we go.
And so here we'll go down.
There we go.
It's cost of living and purchasing power related to average income.
Exactly.
So 1, we got Bermuda, 2, Mozambique, 3, Switzerland, 4, Iceland, 5, Norway, 6, Bahamas, 7, Denmark. Where's the U.S.? The United States is
17th. So they're 17th. Australia, the cost of living is higher in Australia and it's higher in Switzerland, like I said. So Leland, I'm trying to tell you.
But the thing about it is that, you're not looking at the monetary dollar value. See, the problem is,
see how he's messing. Tyrone, can we do this?
The strength of the
if we
U.S.
make a
dollar
point,
in comparison to the currency, you're not being truthworthy on the situation though.
you don't even know how to,
With the buying power of the dollar too, don't you agree?
Leland, you
The,
will argue with the truth when
I'm
it's
just
right in
saying
your face.
the
I don't
buying
care to
power of
do
the
that.
dollar.
I'm not going
It
to
doesn't.
debate.
The buying power of the dollar has a lot to do with it. Is all I'm saying.
I'm not debating that. I don't care. It's irrelevant to our conversation right now. Let's move on.
So the buying power of the dollar doesn't mean the thing you're saying. If the U.S. dollar is worth nothing, and then the goods that you buy means you got to spend more to buy the goods.
What is the Australian? You think the Australian dollar is worth more than the U.S. dollar right now? No, it's not.
I'm saying the buying power. Listen, the buying power of their dollar in their economy is better than our buying power of our dollar in our economy. Is what I'm saying.
I understand this, but
Okay.
it doesn't matter. It's the
All
same.
right, we were talking about the cost of living, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So now he's making up. He's trying to push the goal.
No, it's still fact what I'm saying. If your dollar is stronger, that means you don't have to spend as much of it. If your prices are fair, let me finish.
Making no sense, man.
If your rent is less than our rent, even though your dollar has a stronger value, don't you think you're better off because your dollar, it has a higher value, so you don't have to give it.
Am I tripping? Did you not just show him on the screen what the numbers say? I'm not going to make up an excuse.
You just said the cost of living. It wasn't talking about the dollar strength of the cost of living. If you compare the strength of the dollar against the cost, it's another chart you can pull up too. The strength of the monetary currency per country against the cost of living. You can pull that chart up; it'll show you a comparison.
You said cool. The strength of monetary value per currency.
Exactly, based upon you could see a difference.
All right, and Greenland, what other questions is it that you have for Prince? Because he asked you 2 questions, and you could ask him 2 questions too, just so we'll be even in our questions.
So Prince, you don't agree that you weren't born then in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. You were born in the 80s, but
I was born in the 80s actually. But go ahead.
Right. Well, you weren't born when Clinton was in office. You were a baby. So what I'm saying is this: you were. Yeah, you were born. You might have been born. Or were you born in 83, 4? No, 84.
Dude, I was 12 when Clinton was in office. I remember Bill Clinton when he ran for president. I remember thinking he was clown when I was
all right, go ahead, you guys.
Cool. I got you right. Well, anyway, what I'm saying is, Prince, in the 80s, we were probably in the midst of a decline in the 80s.
No duh.
Okay. But it is a variety of reasons why we're on a decline. One of the reasons why we're on a decline was a lot of industries are leaving the country. Do you agree with that?
Leland, are you gonna ask me? Do I agree?
That's a question. I'm giving you a question. Do you agree that many industries are leaving America in the 80s? Do you agree that yes or no?
No.
Why you don't agree that
happened after NAFTA? That happened after NAFTA got signed into place.
No. That's not what NAFTA did. NAFTA didn't make anything leave here. NAFTA was just a trade agreement of what comes in and goes out.
That's what a trade agreement is.
What are
you talking about?
NAFTA didn't hurt us. NAFTA didn't hurt us. No, sir. We were already on the decline before NAFTA.
No, NAFTA. The economy was. Okay. I answered the question. No, it wasn't. It wasn't in the 80s. No.
Let me ask you a question. Do you remember have you ever read up about the import dumping that took place in this economy?
The import dumping? No, never heard of it.
Okay, you need to read about it. It happened. Import dumping was devaluating our exports because the Japanese were, before China jumped on us, the Japanese were dumping on us. But we had a president to fix them or cut them off in the middle of that. They really screwed them over. They got hit with the tariffs first. Like the tariffs Trump's are doing to China. We had our leaders did that to Japan before they ever did it to China, and they put them back in line. And right now, guess what? China is a super producer over Japan right now because of what they did.
Okay, so I want to go back. I want to go back to the point, which is,
okay, sure.
Should people in America make a living wage? Which is a pretty simplistic argument. Yes, they should, right?
That's a question to me you're posing? Is that a question for me or what?
No. We already agreed. You said that they should and then
No, I didn't. I said in theory. I said.
Okay, so Greeland, you're saying in theory, but you're saying practically or in reality, that's not what's going to happen. But do you
Precisely.
think
That's
it
what
should
I'm saying.
happen? I think
Yes.
that's what Prince is asking. Do you?
Yeah, you said it should happen. Yes.
No,
Okay.
I said in theory, it would make sense for that to be the logical thing to take place, but it will never happen because it's never existed in time. It's never been that way before. It's never been that way.
That's a lie. And secondly,
How's that a lie?
that's it. It used to happen we just talked about the prosperity in America in the 60s and 50s.
We still got people, but Prince, we still have people right now still surviving. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck.
I didn't say that.
My sister's not living paycheck to paycheck. I'm
All
just
right,
saying.
let's boil it down to a direct question just so we can stay on track because we got a lot of topics to get to. We still on number one.
Okay. I'm just saying overall, it sounds good. And yes, I wish to see everybody prosperous, but in reality, no, it's not. It's never going to happen. No, I don't think it's ever going to be like that.
So that's, once again, it happens all around. It's happening all around us, all around the world, like in all different types of countries. It's happening. And it used to happen in America at one point in time. But what happened was, like I said, a turning point. Not the only person who did it. I'm not blaming Reagan solely or his regime, but when it turned was when Reagan got in office and tricked Americans supporting trickle-down economics. That was what he got.
Honestly, I mean, I can't say if he necessarily triggered all that stuff because we're already on a decline because,
all right, here, look, I got something for you guys. This might bring a little bit of clarity to the situation right here.
Okay.
Talking about manufacturing. Let me see. I got something right here, and I think it's it says competition and a decline of the Rust Belt, Federal Reserve Bank. It says it is commonly believed that the American Rust Belt, the heavily manufacturing region primarily bordering the Great Lakes, began to decline economically during the severe recession of the late 70s and early 80s and continued to decline as U.S. manufacturing struggled at the, I'd have to open it, but yeah, it's saying that it started to struggle heavily in the late 70s and late 70s and early 80s. So that might bring a little bit of clarity to what we talked about.
That's what I said.
So look at that. So look at that chart. So look at that chart.
But that's what listen, for example, that's just what I said. I said Detroit, the Rust Belt states, which is Detroit, where they had heavy industry, it started to decline. Now, it was Reagan wasn't president of so we can't point to Reagan.
Oh, there go your phone again. Greeland is good, getting high pitched again. It's the same thing. You got to take the chipmunk filter off.
I think it happens when I turn the mic on and off.
There you go.
Now, what I said was the Rust Belt states of, of Detroit, Michigan, that are the Great Lakes area, that includes Ohio and Illinois and that area. It used to be a lot of industry in this country from those areas in that region. And when it started to decline, it took a toll on the economy nationally. But some of the reasons why it declined was environmental concerns, because we had, about the lead in the water. They still have poison in the water in Michigan and Detroit. We know that. So, I mean, we don't have to get into that. So we know why it was probably good that they did decline on some of the industrial poisoning of the people. I agree. But at the same time, a lot of it is caused severe unrest economically for many people of color and people who are just there's some white people who are doing pretty bad. They're just not blacks. You got poor people of all ethnicities not doing 100%. I know Asian people who are not doing very well. People think all Asians are smart and wealthy. I know some Asians that are struggling. I know some Middle Easterns that are struggling. So you can't just think that because you have an ethnicity, you're doing better or worse than the other one. It goes across the board economically. It has nothing to do with color either. I know we're not talking about color, but I'm saying economics is blind to color. It hits and it strikes those and it benefits some others too.
So Tyrone, can you look up the transfer of wealth in America? There's a chart that shows that it's a transfer of wealth by the like a timeline. That was the first thing I want to ask you, and secondly, what I was talking about with the industry, with the manufacturing industry, I'm saying that when the shit got really fucking bad was after Clinton signed NAFTA. That was when it got like almost every industry, like textiles left, like not just cars, but like textiles left. Like you were talking about fucking
I can explain it. I can explain it too. Because
when you call up, like you just said, when you call the credit card company, some dude from Bangladesh answers the phone. That happened after NAFTA. So NAFTA hurt us. Saying NAFTA didn't hurt us is fucking crazy.
I agree with you. NAFTA would hurt us because NAFTA wasn't set up right. It was set up for. Let me ask you a question. Let me give you an example. If you are economic giant, listen to me carefully. Both of you, listen. If you're economic giant, right? And all of a sudden, you make a partner deal with countries. Those countries start dumping goods in your country and not taking any of your goods. Of course, you're going to be hurt because you need to sell. It's like I'm a dope dealer. I'm taking in dope, but I ain't selling no dope. You're gonna go broke. You don't sell no dope. You need to sell some shit.
But Glealand, people knew, politicians knew at that time what they were doing. Just like they knew that signing the crime bill, they knew what was going to happen because people told them what was going to happen if they did it. So that's not an excuse to say it wasn't set up right. It was set up right for the people at the top. It was set up perfectly for them. It wasn't set up for us. It wasn't an accident. That's what we need to stop acting like, giving these people like the benefit of the doubt as if like it was an accident that fucking
I hated NAFTA from day one. I never did like NAFTA. I called it a failure before it started.
You just said it didn't hurt us.
No, I call it. No, I didn't. I said that wasn't what hurt us though. I said the setup of NAFTA didn't hurt us. It didn't help us, but it didn't hurt us. It didn't cause industry to leave America. No, because it was more important. It was just manufacturing jobs. Like, okay, Mercedes-Benz, which is partially an American company now, believe it or not, they manufacture in Mexico. Ford is over there. General Motors is over there. Every company in America has a facility in every country virtually. Now, the bad part about NAFTA was they rigged this up and told us, okay, if they make the car over there, we're going to sell it back to you in America for less money. That was the first lie. No, they didn't. They sell it for the same amount of money. So it didn't benefit the people. You're right. It benefited corporate America. You're right. I agree with you on that. They benefited from.
So now let's look at this chart. So I can't really see it, Tyrone. So you're gonna have to go through it, but I could kind of see what it's doing.
Okay.
That's the year on the bottom. What is that on the bottom? I can't really tell.
Okay.
I want Tyrone to hit narrate it. Go ahead, narrate it, Tyrone.
Okay, on the bottom you have the years to the chart, and it starts in 1963. It goes to 2016.
Okay.
On the side, we have the number of wealth, the actual literal number in the wealth distribution. And the chart says distribution of family wealth 1963 to 2016. And it's just giving a chart of how the distribution of family wealth started to spike
It went up, huh?
In 95.
No, I don't know what that's, honestly don't know what that's saying though. Like,
well, let me ask you, hold on a second. Let me speak. You said wealth declined. He's showing you a chart to say it went up where people were being prosperous.
Scroll down.
But I think that's Greeland. That's for the 10th percentile and up.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it say
rich
that?
People.
Does it say that?
People.
Yes.
Hold on a minute. 10% is not the nation's wealthy. That 10% is not.
What? And then look, what does it say? One reason for rising wealth inequality is income inequality, which is literally what I just said. So, so if you look at this chart, so the top chart is showing you that the wealthy, that the top 10% back in the day didn't used to have that much more money than everybody else. Now it just jumped up to $250,000 and $400,000, whatever the hell it jumped up to. And why is that? You go to the reason. It says one reason for rising wealth inequality is income inequality. So What should happen? The income should be increased, which is what I've been saying. So what are you talking about? This is proof right there.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. When we say income inequality, okay, I understand what you're saying. I get that. That's not a dispute. But what I'm saying, that's why I said in theory, you would think that it's supposed to keep up, but it doesn't. Yes, you got more wealthier people, but you're forgetting what caused that. You know, with the induction of the internet, more millionaires have been created off of not necessarily working. They were created off of technology, like Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. In other words, new industries were brought forward and people prospered on the new industries.
Everybody's not going to be a millionaire.
Hold on, let me finish. Do you know how many millionaires and billionaires Microsoft generated? Do you know how many millionaires and billionaires that Amazon generated?
Do you know how many poor people?
I'm not finished.
Time out. Since you asking me questions, do you know how many poor people Amazon created?
I'm not finished. Do you know how many millionaires and billionaires did Google create? Yahoo created? In other words, if you want to get into how these numbers came about, many of those numbers came about without necessarily using the poor backs of people to create that wealth, like you're trying to say. If those, for example, if those industries left America, we can't say they got rich because industries left. The companies left the country. They didn't get rich off over here. They got rich elsewhere. If I was able to move my company to another country, I can get rich because my country's in another country making money. And that's what happened. A lot of companies left America. They're making money elsewhere in other countries. That's what happened.
That's pointless. That has nothing to do with what I'm saying, and that also just proves how evil capitalism is. That proves how evil capitalism is. So basically, it's a hold on. I'll let you talk. So let me finish.
And then basically, we'll get you guys final thought on this topic, because again, we're talking about Obama creating more jobs than Trump, and then we started getting into policy, and that's how we got here. And then I'm gonna ask you guys next. We're gonna go all the way to the border wall and immigration. See what you guys think about that. Go ahead, Prince.
Okay. So what we have here is an inability to come to an agreement on a moral from a moral standpoint. So basically, ethically speaking, is it right for a company like Amazon, like Google, like Apple, like fucking whoever, any of these industries, is it right? I don't care, whoever. Is it right for them to be able to go and make as much money as they possibly can make, take their companies out of this society that benefits the people here in this country, companies that are founded and based in this country, take their industry, take their manufacturing industry to other countries, and also, it's not like when they go to those other countries get rich. Like I'm talking about, like the regular people. They're just going there because those are quote unquote third world countries, and they're getting cheap labor from there. It's not like they're getting high quality, and they're paying them appropriately. They're doing that because those countries are desperate and they need money. So ethically speaking, how is that right that they get to do that? Meanwhile, people in America are starving and dying from lack of money.
I got a question for you. I'll pose one for you. For example, you have your hype is what? Meme. What's that again?
Meme knowledge.
Meme knowledge, right? Okay, let's say, for example, me and you partnered up, and I say, man, I'm feeling your meme knowledge. We need to get some t-shirts. We're gonna go national and spread the love of meme knowledge. And let's say they say, well, okay, man, it's gonna cost us, man, $12 a t-shirt with logos and everything. It's gonna be fly for us to distribute your shirts. Then we get Mr. Taiwan or somewhere overseas, and wherever, Bangladesh, it could be India, it could be anywhere. Say, I do the shirt for 2 cents a shirt. What would you do as a businessman?
Me, I'm gonna stick. Believe it or not, I've done this before, and I keep my business right here. I work from my inner circle out. I don't even do it based on like just find anybody. I'm starting with Tyrone first. I'm gonna be like, hey, my homie Tyrone own a t-shirt company. Let's see what Tyrone charges. Then Tyrone hit me with the fee. I know he gonna hit me with the lowest fee he can give me, and I'm going through Tyrone. I'm not even shopping them around. I'm not even gonna go see what Tyrone.
What if he hit you with a number that is not gonna be standing with you? What you gonna do? You just gonna fail to make shirts or what?
I can't pay it. If I can't afford it, then I'm gonna go to the next person. If I go to Tyrone and I say, T, how much is you charging to make me 50 shirts? I need to get 50 shirts made. And T goes, well, I can do 50 shirts for $8 a shirt or $10 a shirt or whatever. And I go, okay. So what's that? Five racks? All right, cool. I mean, $500. All right, cool. Whatever. Cool. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like, yeah, let's do that. Run that. I got you. $500 right here. Right. But if he goes, it's $55 a shirt, and I'm like, shit, I don't got $2,500 to give you, bro. And I can't do it. I'm gonna go to the next person then. But like I said, I start with my inner circle and then I work my way out. I don't go looking for the cheapest. I go looking for my friends and my family first and foremost. Those are the people that I put money in their pockets in first. I'm not a capitalist. I don't have a capitalist mentality. That's not how I think. I think it's more important to build up the people around you. I feel like you benefit more from that than saving a few dollars here and there. That's crazy to me.
Okay, now Prince. Now yesterday, you and I were having our little heart-to-heart discussions, right? And you kind of said, "Hey, look, man, I'm only 37. Come back and check me when I'm 50." So you plan on growing and prospering, right? That's why you said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so whether you're capitalistic or not, growing is part of getting capitals. It's capitalistic, don't you think? If you're gonna grow in capital and wealth, isn't that capitalistic kind of sort of?
Nah, it's a concept. So you could basically what I could do is I could take my money, which this is what I want to do with my money and what I plan to do with the money that I have saved up to start my own business. I want to start. I believe in group economics. So I'm a socialist. That's what I am. So I would rather have a business where we all make money. And when I pull you in, and I don't need to be the CEO that my salary is $100,000 and your salary is $10,000. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say we all making the same amount of money. I want everybody to pull their money, pull their resources together, and let's start our own business. Now, my only problem with that I could already see is it's hard to find like-minded people. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much information I share with them, no matter how much proof I show them, like, bro, this
they don't have your vision. Got your vision.
They don't have the vision. They're afraid. They've been brainwashed to think like a capitalist in America, like, oh, I got to get mine. I want to be the man. I got to make as much money as possible. But the numbers will show you this, though. The numbers will show you this. There have been studies done on the quality of life, right? And they say that the average, the people who report the highest levels of happiness, the money that you need to make starts around 70, 80 grand a year per person, right? So if I make 70, 80 grand a year, up to about $120,000 a year, they said that there's really no significant difference in happiness from people that make $120,000 a year to freaking LeBron James. Money, but the money don't make you happy, which that's what I try to tell people. Like, I don't do shit for money. That's not how my brain works.
Let me tell you something. Even
all right, and look, and Greenland, let's make this the final thought on that topic. I think you guys did a great job of letting people know how you feel on it, and we'll go forever, but it's up for the people to see the different perceptions and go from there. And look, you guys see, somebody said, you got to put 3T said, I got to put a timer on. So I put a timer on, and what we'll try to do is we'll just try to, on the next subject, stick to a little 2-minute timer. And if you go over, you go over, but it's there for looks and just so you'll know how long we've been going. So
I like that.
Okay. I mean, just to give a rebuttal to what he said right there, that's been one of the mind washes I see for raising our people from slavery. In other words, we have the crab in the barrel effect frequently, where the other one wants to crawl on your back and pull you up the rim, and you might be fixing to get over the hump, get over the edge of that barrel, they want to pull you back down. So I mean, it sounds good your concept that you want to mobilize with brothers and do your thing, but like you said, the like-mindedness is the difficulty. the like-mindedness is a difficulty in your concept. So I don't see you succeeding at your concept. That's my
Who asked you though? I didn't ask you to tell
It's
me
not
if I was going to
matter.
succeed or not.
Just give me my opinion.
I don't need you to tell me if I'm going to succeed or not.
Don't be
You don't need to
offended.
say that to me.
I said at your
All right,
concept.
look, hold on, you guys. We're gonna roll on to the
Don't
next
be
topic.
offended.
And
No,
look,
I'm not. I'm really not offended. I'm just telling you though, it's like you don't need to tell me that. You're not here. Just
Okay,
real quick, Tyrone.
you know what?
Everything that I
must-
say and
I'll
do,
take it back,
I don't
bro.
do that to tear nobody down, and I
Okay.
don't do that. I'm here to help. So you telling me that you think it's not going to succeed is what? You think that's helping me?
No,
you think
Prince,
okay,
no.
cool. So why say it then? So obviously you was trying to get a rise out of me, but you didn't. I'm just telling you. I don't care though.
all right, well, here,
Hold on, let me clear this up.
clear that up, and then we're gonna go to the border wall. Go ahead.
Hey, Prince, I wasn't saying that you're not going to succeed. I said you're not going to succeed at that concept of pulling in like-minded people like you have. I say
either way.
I say you're going to make it, but you're not going to make it at that concept of trying to be
Either way, man.
Embracing
Either
people to pull up your dream ain't gonna probably happen. You probably gonna have to be the mastermind of the plot. That's what I'm saying. You feel me?
I'm networking right now though. Anyways, let's go because he don't even know. Go.
And here we got a couple people out here. Jay Steve, what's up with you, Jay? It's my guy. Duke Farrell says capitalism doesn't expand its privilege to those who can't attain economic status. Let me see who else we got out here. Judas Yasharia LaSharlia says, good point, Prince. What else we got out here? We got a few comments. MacBean Revolt says, nothing matters to Prince.
True.
Oh, that's true. No, people's opinions don't matter to me. Only facts. Sorry if what you think doesn't matter to me.
3T said we got a timer for nothing. No, 3T, we gonna make it for something. But look, you guys, here, let me start with you, Greenland, and we're gonna talk about immigration and the wall. What do you think about the wall, Greenland? Do you think that we have a good reason to build a wall, or do you think that we shouldn't build a wall? Simple.
Hey, the wall. Okay, about the wall. I think the wall. It may not necessarily. I think it's more of a mental deterrent. I don't think it's going to necessarily fix the immigration crisis. What needs to be done is policy need to be enforced. Immigration laws need to be enforced properly. There can't be any kind of deviation from policy. That's what I would feel was most important about immigration policy. But the problem is the liberal agenda is perpetrating a lot of the immigration, especially legal immigration. I should say. They perpetrate a lot of that because they stand more to gain than any other party, than independents or Republicans. Here's the reason why: because naturally, if you help somebody who doesn't have documentation or is illegal, you start giving them welfare benefits, Section 8, housing, whatnot. Those people are going to be faithful to the party to help them get away with it. And naturally, that's why they got the DREAM Act in California, where undocumented children can go to college. You got black kids who can't go to college for free in California. So I mean, there's many things that are happening that I can point to the Democratic establishment. I'm not a Republican. Let me make that clear. I'm not a Republican. But at the same time, I see a difference in the things that they do that doesn't necessarily help black people. It helps other people. And that's my biggest problem with the Democratic Party. If they're supposed to be the party of other people and that inclusiveness, it doesn't work. I think we need our own black party, to be honest. That's another show. But I still think we need our own black a representation for black folks only. I believe that. But the wall itself, it's a waste of time. I think it's not going to really do nothing. No, it's nothing.
Okay. So here, let me start that time over. Prince, wall or no wall? And if you guys see this guy over here eating to the left of me, that's my dad. Now don't get out the picture now. My dad over there. Look, how you get crumbs all on the presidential podium?
I seen them.
Look, he said, I can't see me. We see you. Don't run now. He came up here. I can't
see him either.
Look, there he go. Look.
There you go. I seen him earlier.
He came up here. He came with one sandwich. P, go ahead. Yep. What you think? Wall or no wall?
I mean, building the wall is a waste, and it's not going to stop immigration at all. I would, I mean, I don't want to go back too far, but the whole concept of stopping immigration is unethical in itself, considering that the country was stolen. So I find that very hypocritical about anybody in America talking about not letting people in this country. But if we want to stop it, I agree that we need to implement policies to stop it. Some of the mainly the policies are our number one policy should be to get out of other people's politics. Get out of Venezuela, stop messing with their country. Get out of Mexico, stop messing with their country. And then get out of Guatemala. Get out of Guatemala and get out of all of these places and stop messing with their country. Stop crippling them. Stop trying regime changes. And maybe their people won't, and stop sanctioning their countries like they're doing in Venezuela and starving the people out and creating this vacuum and then having violence be visited upon those people and starvation and so on and so forth. And then the people flee and then they want to come to America and you go, hey, no, you can't come here. And it's like, but you're the cause, you're the reason why this is happening in my country. So yeah, these are policies that need to be implemented. Secondly, liberals
already got 20 seconds. Go ahead, Big.
Yeah, liberals didn't. Obama was the deporter in chief. Obama deported more people than Trump has so far.
It's true.
And he was anti-immigration. So saying it's a Democratic thing once again, I don't know why even say that. It's not the truth.
All right, and here it sounds like we got some definitive answers on that one, so it don't even look like we got to go too much further with that one. Before we started, Greenland asked a question to Prince about global warming, and I said, stop. We'll talk about it in a second.
You know what?
Greenland.
Can I do a quick rebuttal about one thing he said?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I just thought you guys were in agreement. If you got a rebuttal, and then I'm sure Prince will have a rebuttal to your rebuttal. Go ahead, Greenland.
He said Mexico was stolen. I want to bet you.
We can't hear you again. I don't know what happens with your phone, but it'll go from your voice go from deep to
How about, are we good?
Go ahead.
Are we good now?
Good.
Okay, what I was going to say, he said that Mexico was stolen, America stole Mexico. You could pull up information showing that America purchased this territory from Mexico. It was purchased.
And I didn't say America stole Mexico.
You just said it's stolen land from Mexico.
America is stolen land. I didn't say it was stolen from Mexico, though.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say that we're blocking Mexicans and we stole their land. That's what it sounded like you're saying.
Nope. Right. I said America is a stolen land, so it's highly hypocritical to hear Americans say they don't want people in this country from other countries. And I just named Mexico as a country from which a lot of people come from. But the land was stolen from the Native Americans or from the Aboriginal Americans. That's who the land was stolen from.
Let me ask you a question. So if you look through history, how much land was stolen by colonials in the first place?
All of it. All of it.
All right, we got a point.
All of it.
We can move on, Tyrone. We're in agreement on that.
All right. Well, let's move on. Greenland, why don't you go ahead and ask Prince what you were going to ask him about global warming, and when you're done with your question, I'll hit the timer, and then you can rebut whatever Prince says.
Hey, Chris, do you honestly do you believe that industrialization is the primary cause of any such thing as global warming, or do you believe it really exists? I really don't believe it exists, period.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, okay.
Go ahead, Prince.
Because now, I mean, they show that in the North Pole, some of the snow caps are replenishing themselves. So, I mean, I'm not sure.
All right, let's let him get on his answer. We can start the timer. Go ahead, Prince. Timer started now.
Okay, so in all honesty, I don't even like debating if global warming is real or not. Like, I don't even. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I really am not going to debate if global warming is real or not. It's real. It's happening. 99% of scientists all around the world say that it's real. We see it. I see examples of it without scientists telling me that. I see examples of it all the time. So
Right.
it's real. It's, to me, it's like arguing, is the moon in the sky, and it's just, you know what I mean? Like, is the earth round or whatever the hell? Like, I don't argue that.
Right.
You know, that's a waste of time to me. I thought the debate should be, I mean, if you want to have a debate about it, is we can argue what causes it. We can argue how to fix it, right? Like, that's a debate. But I'm not going to debate if it's real or not. That's crazy.
It's hard for me to talk about fixing something that I don't believe is happening.
Okay, so that's a fundamental difference you guys have right there. Greeland doesn't believe that there's a such thing as global warming, and Prince does believe that there's global warming. Let me see what we have.
You know, the person who started that was Al Gore.
Trey Hay says global warming doesn't exist, fam. Proof, Trey. And so, yeah, so we got people in the comments too that see things the opposite direction. All right, here, you guys, progressivism is progressivism good for America? We've kind of talked about that. Let me start with you, Greeland. Progressivism, is that progressivism?
Yeah, I think it's a word. I think it is, but let me answer that.
I'm just checking. Progressives, what do you think about the progressive movement in America, Greeland? Go ahead.
I've already made it plain and clear in the other encounter the other day that it's just more of a word of change of direction. I don't necessarily think that progressivism is anything fundamental. I don't think it's a fundamental value or it has any real policy. I think it's just a word that's used for change of direction, whether it's giving more rights to gays, whether it's advocating for more health care, whether it's advocating for more inclusiveness in politics. It's just a word. I don't necessarily think that progressive or progressivism is anything other than just a cliche word, quote unquote. It's just a cliche word. It's like we've done a lot of the things that didn't work in the past. Now we're going to come up and say we're progressives and we got new direction. But it's the same people doing the same thing over and over again. That's nothing new. No results are going to happen out of this progressive movement. I don't think nothing's going to happen. I don't think they're going to win the White House for another. It might win it after the next time Trump wins. I don't think they're going to win the next election.
All right, here, Prince, go ahead. What do you want to say? Let me start the timer over. You have some time left, Greeland. You guys, I put on the timer and everybody got short. Go ahead, Pete. What do you think?
I just made my point.
Progressivism or being a progressive, is it a positive thing? Is it real or what?
Yeah, I mean, progressivism is a belief in, when you say progressive or when you say progress, you mean to progress towards what, right? So you want to progress towards equality. So that is the fundamental belief in progressivism. That's why progressives, typically speaking, like he said about gay rights or whatever, like me personally, I'm not like anti-gay people or anything like that. Just that agenda is like really far down on my list. So I don't like go out of my way to like fight for it. But if it comes up, if they want to, like, if they're like, yeah, I mean, like they pass gay, the right to be married, to be homosexuals, to be married or whatever. Cool. Yeah, you could be married. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how I feel about that. Right. But that's not a big issue in the real, to me, in the real progressive movement. We don't care about, we're not out. That's just like a part. That's just all in it. Like, yeah, we all should be equal. That should be a given. You know what I'm saying? Like people, black people, white people, like we all should have the right to get married or to grow, work and pay taxes and blah, 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 blah. We all have that right. We all contribute to society. I don't feel like taking the right away from somebody for any particular reason other than if they hurt somebody else. But if you're not progressing towards equality, then you aren't a progressive. Conservatives have their fundamental beliefs, and progressives, we have ours, and liberals, I feel like, are a different thing, and they have theirs. Liberals are more moderate in this country. Progressives are more left, and conservatives are right. So I like, as far as I'm concerned, being a progressive is just a person who wants to see. I don't want to see kids starving in the street. I don't want to see our environment destroyed for the sake of making more money. I want to see more people happy. I want to see more people healthy. I want to see us living longer lives, and so on and so forth. I don't, It's not really some deep concept as far as I'm concerned. It's real.
Okay.
It's real easy to grasp.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now,
Go ahead,
basically,
Greeley.
let me clearly kind of explain it just a little bit better for you. What happened was this: after Donald Trump slugfest beat the heck out of Hillary Clinton, and I'm not a Trump fan. These people, the hierarchy in the Democratic Party, realized that they needed to rebrand themselves, and they were not attracting enough young people. After Bernie Sanders, his entire following of the millennials, they didn't gravitate to Hillary, so they understood that they needed to have a new movement, and that's what gave birth to the progressive movement, where they started to infuse newer younger people like Ocasio or Ortiz, Cortez.
Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, Cortez. Yeah, Ocasio-Cortez. Excuse me. After they implemented her, they have the young lady in Minnesota who's a Muslim who my wife knows.
Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, my wife knows her because she's from the same country. So I'm saying all of that stuff kind of came together, so to say, right? But it's just a movement of new people, so they call it progressive. It has nothing to do with the platform and the agenda, because I could put on paper and say, I want everybody to make more money. I want everybody to have equal wages. I want everybody to have the same rent. I want everybody to have equal opportunity. We can say all of this stuff, and then you still got to go before Republican control people and fight against them at the same time. So it's still going to be a fight with Democrats and Republicans on the lawmaking side, whether it's the House or, it doesn't make a difference. They're still going to clash and collide. The problem is each party, they support the president's agenda. Whenever you have a president in power, it's kind of difficult to really disseminate power, how it's going to play out. But it's going to be interesting to see how it comes out the next election.
All right. Good, Prince, you got something you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, saying that something like I try not to make predictions when we're talking about things like this, right? Because unless there's like a clear trajectory that we can see, right? But I don't it's pointless to assume that nothing's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make it why say that, and B, we don't know, so that I don't get into that. You know what I'm saying? It's like hyperbole. Like, what are we talking about? It's not a real conversation to be had. You know what I mean? I feel like we could have that conversation in private, maybe, but to me, it's like arguing who's better, Kobe or Magic. Like, I don't want to go on a forum like this and debate on if something is or isn't going to happen that
Kobe.
You don't know and I don't know. Exactly, Kobe. But you don't know and I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my I don't, and I wasn't saying that to you because I do hear that a lot, Greeley, from a lot of other conservative minded people or moderate people. Their excuse for not supporting, or one of the excuses that they give for not supporting the progressive movement is, well, nothing's going to happen anyway because, and I'm like, really the only reason why nothing would happen is because people like you, and not you, but whoever the person is saying that, you guys won't fight for it. You guys won't hold your politicians, the police, the people who voted for, you won't hold them accountable. If you don't hold them accountable, then why would they change? Why wouldn't they just go with their corporate donors, right? Because that's how most of them got into office. They got money, they owe money to some industry or to some business or whatever, so they have to pay them back. And if people and their constituents aren't making them pay for it, they're not in their offices every day, they're not, doing sit-ins or whatever we need to do to vocalize our disapproval with this government. You know what I mean? So I don't see why it won't happen, other than the fact that we won't make it happen.
Okay.
Right. Go ahead, Greeley.
What I like to say is this. Okay. Normally, for a movement to work, it's got to have leverage. And what I'm trying to say is this: the way that the Democrats got the Obamacare, the affordable health care plan through, because they controlled the House at the time. They had a president to sign off on it at the time because they had leverage. This movement of progressive, they don't have any leverage because you got a Republican president and you got a bunch of new, inexperienced rookie people in there. They have a lot of ideas that are popular for the people, but at the same time, you got to get a president or a presidential candidate to run with them who's not from the old farm, the old club. And right now, Joe Biden is from the old club. He's the front runner. So I'm saying the problem is you got an old blood mixed with new blood, and he's got a bunch of old ways still. He's still stuck in, the dinosaur age. And it's going to be difficult for you to move forward with him because the younger people, the progressives, they want young blood. That's what progressive is, right? They want young blood. They want new, they want new leadership.
New, yes, not young. New.
Well, younger.
Better. No, not younger. Better. Not younger.
Better?
Not new. Better.
So let me ask you a question. So do you agree they don't want to have the status quo politician, right?
Yes, of course. They don't want to have a status quo politician.
Okay, well, Elizabeth Warren is status quo, isn't she?
Yep, I agree. She's moderate. I agree.
But she's still status quo. She's still status quo, right? What about
I'm agreeing with you. Cory Booker.
Kamala Harris.
He's terrible. Yep, terrible. Terrible candidate.
Kamala Harris.
Terrible. Just as bad as Cory Booker.
Terrible. We're on the same page, and brother, I love you for that because I said the same thing about him. Horrible.
Yep, terrible, horrible. But every Republican is terrible. Whatever Kamala Harris is, the best Republican is 10 times worse than the worst Democrat. Like so I don't get in it. I don't even mention when I have these discussions. What happens with the Democratic Party is this. What's happening is this. I don't have me personally. I'm not a Democrat, right? But since we in America we're confined to this two-party system. What happens is that there are some people in the party who are cool. Ocasio-Cortez,
you can tolerate
Rashida Tlaib, Ro Khanna. These people are true progressives, right? They don't take corporate money. They're not beholden to any corporate.
They don't take it.
Huh?
They won't take the money yet.
They haven't. I'm not. Once again, it's pointless to say what somebody's gonna do, but they did it, and they won already. So why would they take it now? They already won.
Because they don't know the insights of how it works.
Hey, you guys here. Let's roll on to something else again. Like because once you guys articulate what you say and people know how you feel, they'll go through, they'll check the records and see what they think. I think you guys did a great job on that. Socialism. Will socialism work in the United States? And we have a question here saying, will socialism work and has capitalism worked? Greeland, let's start this one with you. I think we started the last one with Prince. Socialism.
Well, the bad part about socialism is that there are some failed blueprints out there that many countries could look at. And many people could look at. Many countries have failed with, Greece failed with socialism. Many countries have failed. So, I mean, we have to stand back and look at it. I don't think it's going to work in this country because, like Chris said, we got too much corporate greed. And I think that what's going to happen if it ever gets to move in that direction, a lot of these we think that we lost a lot of industries. All these rich companies and rich people got options. They can just get the hell out of America and say, F America, we're going to go over here and set up shop. Now we got fewer jobs. Then they're going to say, well, we got to go up on all the people that do have money and jobs to compensate for what we lost in revenue from all the corporations that left. So socialism is easy to talk about, but it's far from being able to transpire. Now, as far as capitalism is concerned, free markets have always won. Free markets is capitalism. If you got a concept and an idea, you could be somebody, be whatever you want to be. I don't care. You might invent something tomorrow to save electricity or make a car, do something special. And if it's your invention and everybody needs it, you're wealthy. I mean, I say capitalism is great, man. To each his own, I mean, Jay-Z is a capitalist. LeBron James is a capitalist. Everybody who's ever gained revenue, they're capitalists. So what's wrong with gaining revenue and have wealth for your family? What's wrong with that? You can take that money later on, you retire from basketball and buy yourself real estate. Be fruitful for your family in the next generation so they have something. They ain't got to bust their ass like you did the next time around. You see what I'm saying? So it's nothing wrong with capitalism. I think it's healthy. And I think it's worth the trouble. I believe in capitalism. I'm going to always be that way.
Okay. Greeland says he believes in capitalism. Prince, what do you think about capitalism? Would capitalism work in America? No, capitalism and would socialism work in America?
Socialism is the only thing keeping America alive right now. So every capitalism has failed at least 5 times that I could think of, like on a major level. It's just failed completely. When Wall Street crashed back, when the Great Depression happened, that was capitalism failing. What helped it out was socialism. That's what socialism is. So they took the money, they bailed out the banks. That's socialism. What got America back on track was when FDR got in the office and started enacting all of these new programs for people, new jobs programs and infrastructure and blah, 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 blah. That's socialism once again. So that's what saved America, was socialism. So capitalism destroys the world. Socialism comes in and they put a Band-Aid on it and keeps it and patches it back up, and then boom, and it ends up, it's a vicious cycle. So asking is socialism can work in America? It's already working, and it's literally the only thing that is working. Secondly, there's no such thing as a free market. There is no free market. There's never been. That's a concept that's been floated out there, but there is no such thing as a free market. Every market is regulated. There is no such thing as a free market. And whenever the market has ever began not being regulated, it has failed miserably. So there is no such thing as a free market in the world. And lastly, socialism is, once again, it's a fundamental thing. Nobody is saying in socialism, it doesn't mean you can't make money. You can make money still. We can have a mix. From an ideological standpoint, I wish we didn't have money and currency and shit like that. I think it's the bane of society right now. But that it is what it is, and I don't feel like we're gonna go, come out of that. Whatever it is, what it is. But you can still make money in socialistic society. There really aren't many. There's tons of successful socialistic societies right now and countries.
Well,
okay. Go ahead, Greeland. You got a rebuttal?
To the rebut to what he said, the only thing we have the socialist in our society is welfare programs like Section 8, food stamps, EBT cards, unemployment. The pass outs during hard times is our socialism, part of our concept of our economy. Now, he just playing word games. As far as the robust opportunity for you to build capital, that's capitalism. You can put your money in the bank, you can borrow, you can take your funds, match it, buy your piece of real estate, flip it, roll it, pay your capital gains tax. That's capitalism. So, I mean, everything in this country has been built around capitalism. So he keeps talking about socialism.
I don't think Greenland knows what socialism is.
Hold on. Not finished. Whenever someone gives out something due to hard times, that's socialism. When the banks collapse, they bail them out. That's socialism. But it's not continuous. It's not like it's not like it progressed the country. He makes it seem like, well, we're running off of it. No, we're not. It comes to the rescue, sure, but it's not designed for long-term effect. That's why countries that run off of it for long-term, they fail. So you could say it's socialism, but yes, it's not. It doesn't have a good long-term effect. You just can't run a country off of socialism. That means everybody pays into the government. So if you make more, you got to give more because you make more. That's just like communism. Oh, what you make belongs to the government. Who wants to say their income all pours back into the government? 80%. I'm just saying, someone has to pay for free stuff. There's nothing free in this country. It's gonna come from somebody's pocket. Somebody got to pay for it now. Come on now. If something is being distributed on a wide scale, whether it's medical benefits, food and housing, someone's paying for that. It's not happening for free.
All right, Prince.
So he said socialism is when people he named the only programs that are socialistic. But then he went on to say anytime you give somebody something, it's pretty much socialism, right? Which I pointed out earlier, when we bailed out the banks, that's socialism. So that's not the only thing. And also,
and I said that too, I mentioned it.
Medi-Cal is socialism as well. Social Security is socialism. The school system, from K through 12, that's socialism. So what are you talking about? There's tons of the things, I'm telling you, the things that are good in this society are socialistic. They're socialistic ideology. They come from a base of socialism. The things that are bad It's capitalism. Honestly, the things that cause us the most pain and cause us the most discomfort and makes our lives much harder is capitalism for the vast majority of people. Only few people benefit in capitalism. That is literally written into capitalism. There are going to be really, really rich people. There's going to be really, really poor people. That's just how it works in capitalism. That's the system of capitalism. But in socialism, it says there could be really, really rich people, but as long as you guarantee that there's no really, really, really poor people. So I don't know what you're talking about. You don't have to give all your money to the government. That's not what socialism is about. You don't give all your money to the government. The government uses the money, like we already pay into taxes. What if we just took our tax dollars and put them to good use, as opposed to fighting wars, as opposed to padding the pockets of the wealthy, as opposed to giving $2 trillion tax cuts to the top 1%? If we took that money and put it into the school system, fixing our infrastructure, Green New Deal, creating new jobs, things like that, we'll be killing it, and that will be socialism pretty much. So capitalism is not good. The concept of capitalism also is not a good thing, to basically, because what it does is it justifies people's lack of empathy. You replace that with this desire to make more money, and that's what I was talking about earlier. How it's unfair for a company to be able just to be like, hey, look, man, I know I built this factory here 20 years ago, and you guys have served this company, and you guys did everything, but I'm gonna save some money by moving this factory to Mexico. That's terrible. That's capitalism.
All right, hold on 1 second, Greeland. Before you jump in, I have something interesting I want to show you guys, and let me show you real quick. And don't forget what you're gonna say, Greeland. I'm gonna come right to you. I pulled up a list of socialist countries around the globe, and this is just a little peek at what you see. You got Armenia, Bolivia, Brazil, Croatia, Denmark, Ecuador, Finland, France, Germany, Greenland, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg. Those are just to name a few. I just wanted to add that in there for context, and you guys might be able to pivot off of that. Go ahead, Greeland.
Okay, for example, it's easy to talk about America as capitalist, but you understand, America is an economic giant in the world stage. Okay, that's a known fact. That being said, is that I think California's economy is, I think they said that just one state alone is like the 10th largest economy in the world. In other words, California is probably bigger than a lot of those countries you just read off on a list, just one state alone. So just to give you the magnitude of how big our economy is in America. That being said, it's difficult for you to suggest that, it's not a failed system. Socialism is a gamble in comparison to capitalism growth. The percentage of people that succeed in capitalism is not that very. He said the top 1%, and there's the tax cut. That's a big fake. I think you can pull that up to say the top percenters got the tax break. You can go pull that up, Tyrone. It's not true. It's false. The top percenters only got the tax break. Everyone got a tax break. That's false rhetoric that many liberals and Democrats say. He says he's not a liberal or Democrat, but he says the same lies they say. So he's the same fish out the water. But if you go look it up, you'll see that that's not true what he just said. I'll call you.
All right. Here, go ahead, Prince. And I put Greeland. Let me know if there's something in particular that you want me to pull up talking about the tax plan.
Look up the tax break that Donald Trump just did last year. Just type in who benefited from it, because he's trying to say only the wealthy people. He's trying to say the regular working class didn't receive anything. He's trying to say, and that's not true, because they did receive.
Okay,
it's just a good false narrative that they do to get people enraged and anger. They want everybody black and the minority to feel like, oh, you're disadvantaged. You're disadvantaged. They did this to you. Vote for us. It's just smoke. They've been doing it forever.
Okay, cool. So we can look that up, and when it comes up that you are just talking out your ass, we're gonna stop talking about that. So
I'm not talking about it.
All right,
So,
look, hold on. We go ahead, Prince, and after you get done, we'll read the chart. We got it right here. Go ahead, Prince.
okay, so well, I was gonna ask you to look up the after this we can look up uh, the economic mobility. So look up when you can. Well, after this, we'll look up the economic mobility in those countries. Like, so you just showed me a list of all those countries, right? All those socialistic countries. Mind you, none of those countries are completely run on socialism. Just FYI, they all have a mix of socialism and capitalism. It's just some of them are more social. They practice more socialism than capitalism, and and whatever, right? Because they said France, but France is a capitalistic society for sure, just like America is. Just like America is, like, if you had to put a number on it, America is. I'm just making up the number. I don't know 100%. I'm just saying, like, America is like 70% capitalism, 30% socialism. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. So they're just saying, like, in France, socialism is like 60%, and then capitalism is 40% or something like that. But look up the ability to the upward mobility. Okay, so the upward mobility in these other countries, meaning look up the likelihood that a person who comes from poverty will be able to get out of poverty.
Okay,
that's what I want to see, because he's talking all this like, oh yeah, if you're he's pointing out all of these like random like celebrities that made it, like and that's the American dream that they try to point to, especially for black people. Oh, you could be LeBron James. Fool, I'm 6 feet tall. I weigh 165 pounds. I was never gonna be LeBron James. I was never gonna be Kobe Bryant. I'm not Denzel Washington. I'm not any of those people. And even black, white, or whatever, the vast majority of the time, you ain't going to be those people. So basically, the only way I was ever going to make any money was to be an actor, a basketball player, or a rapper. That's crazy. But I don't want to be any of those things. I just want to be able to take care of my freaking family and not have nobody starving and have to be living paycheck to paycheck. And I feel like we all deserve that. Everybody.
All right. Look, Prince, right here, I brought up the what we have here. Let me show you guys from the start. It says Trump's tax plan and how it affects you. Okay. This is from thebalance.com. And again, if we need to, we'll go check another chart as well.
Okay.
And right here, let's see. On December 22nd, 2017, President Trump signed the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. It cuts individual income tax rates, doubles the standard deduction, and eliminates personal exemptions. The top individual tax rate dropped by 37%. The act cut the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21% beginning in 2018. The corporate cuts are permanent, while the individual changes expire
they're going to go away, and the taxes are going to go up on us
at the end of 2025. Hold on, let me get down to a little more, Prince. Individual tax rates. Well, individual income tax rates. The act lowers tax rates but keeps 7 income tax brackets. These rates revert in 2026. The act created the following charts. The highest bracket is 500,000 for single people and 600,000 for married couples. Beginning in 2018, they pay a 37% rate after exemptions and deductions. That lowers then the 2017 rate 39.6%. And then this is a bracket of the rates and how they got lowered or how they changed.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So the problem isn't. So the problem isn't.
By the way,
the debate isn't or shouldn't be. Oh, some people this year saved some money, because I know what the tax cut. I told you. I know that overall it's going to cost us money.
Okay,
it's already projected.
Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'm gonna speak on that. Hold on. Here's the deal. I benefited from that tax cut, but here's the point I like to make about that. See, anybody could benefit from that tax break. Anybody could do it. And let me tell you the reason why. Even your men business, once you take your business, incorporate it, now you qualify for the same tax breaks. So there's no excuse. Everybody can point, they got this, they got this. We all have the ability to do the same games. We all can do it. There's no excuse. So we can sit up and argue, The wealthy got this and that. Once you hit that bracket, you get the same benefit as anybody else. I don't care if you sell 1,000 T-shirts, 1,000,000 T-shirts. If it puts you in that bracket, that's your business. You know, I mean, nobody can take it from you. I don't care what you do. If you put yourself in the level of the game, you're in the game. If you sit on the bench, the coach ain't gonna call you because you don't shoot good. But if you know how to shoot and you know how to make it happen, shoot your shot. That's what I say. Shoot your shot.
All right, Prince, you want to jump in? And if you look at the chart, I see at 10%, it stays the same. And then when you go down from 15% to 39.6%, you seem to get a 3% drop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, go ahead.
Go ahead, Prince.
So my point was to get everybody benefited. Everybody benefited. He said that everybody benefited. That was a lot.
No, it wasn't what I was saying. I was saying that whoever's posted this or made this, whatever, this projection, they left out the fact that that overall the taxpayers will end up not benefiting from this because our taxes will go up after the tax breaks the tax cuts go away. And after 2 years, not after 2 years, the taxes are going to change too. So Trump is smart in that regard, or whoever made this stuff, they're smart because they're like, look, while we're in office, they're playing a political game. They even told you in there that what they did was they made it permanent for the corporations, but temporary for the people. So they're playing a game.
We need a break. Corporations need a break because we
in the short term, they're trying to like fool people to be like, see, because that way Trump can get voted for again. Look, I saved you some money and yada yada yada. I'm not falling for that shit though.
Not to cut you off. Supposedly, in theory, as you say, trickle down. By him saving corporate taxes, they're able to expand and make jobs.
That's not what happened. That never happened.
It's happening now. It's happening
not
right
happening now. It's not happening right now.
Hey man, look, you can pull this up. You check. Let's do a fact check. Are more black people employed right now under Donald Trump as opposed to Barack Obama? Check it out, Tyrone. See if it's
what are you gonna base that on? The unemployment rate?
He can pull it up.
No, I'm asking you. How are you gonna? What are they gonna measure? The unemployment rate?
They're gonna. Okay, the Pew report comes off of people paying payroll taxes. Okay, so the Pew report will show actual events happening. So if he pulls that up, it's going to show.
Okay, I'll pull that up. Here, let me ask you this before I pull that up. Brent, which upward mobility chart, what do you want me to pull up? I put upward mobility chart by country. And this is what we got popped up so far. Which one do you want me to open up?
I got to look. I can't look at it. Let me check it right now. Let me see. I can't see. Make it bigger.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, you can click on that. I mean, that should be fine.
You want me to just click on one of these charts right here?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all going to say this. They're all going to say the same shit for the most part.
Different regions of the United States too. It shows regionally too.
I don't. I'm just talking about from country to country, right? So.
Oh yeah, that was education. Hold on, let me go to it.
Yeah.
You could do that. Hey, you can look at education. You can look at it on any major level, on anything that matters. Healthcare, education, wage. America is not. We're terrible. We're doing terrible. And what's this?
Man, you just sour grapes. You hate everybody.
Yeah. See, there he goes, is making up shit. What is this?
You hate the country. You hate everything, dog.
Yeah, I do hate this country. I do. I hate
everything, man.
I hate the system.
All right,
I hate all the ignorant people in here that don't help it, that don't want to contribute. Like, yeah, I despise it.
All right, this is an upward mobility chart right here, but I might have to look at something else just so we make sure that we have a good source here, because this is from NorwegianAmerican.com, and I'm not sure how solid they are for sourcing. So we might need to look at this, and we might need to look at something else just so we can make sure our sources
But for anybody that doesn't understand I think I explained it earlier, but I was just saying that the upper mobility just means that you have the ability to grow, like financially grow. So if your family was worth $200 when you was born, by the time you're 30, if you're only worth $200 and you didn't go nowhere, if you only worth $1,000, you know, whatever. So that's all that means. And America is doing a terrible job of that. Canada is better than us at that. And Canada is, you know, they have more social programs than America do. That was my point. Socialism, when you give people a bare minimum, when you give them a certain standard of living where they don't have to worry about healthcare and they don't have to worry about their education, you have a greater chance of coming out of poverty. So fuck welfare, right? Like I'm not in favor or against welfare because I think it's needed sometimes, but I'm more for welfare for everybody because I think the vast majority.
I think that's insane. Everybody.
There's other countries, only in America, by the way. Once again, only in America,
where everybody gets welfare.
Well, look, let's do this. Let's make welfare the next topic, and because that's something. If that's a fundamental difference. We'll discuss that.
I want to talk about that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Prince, I pulled up a chart right here. It says the U.S. has less relative mobility than many industrialized nations.
Yeah, Canada, Sweden, Germany, like just read the list. You can just look at the list. We're the wealthiest country in the world. We're way more wealthy than Denmark. We're way more wealthy than Norway. Way more wealthy than Canada, Germany, and France. But yet, look at where we are on this list.
But guess what? Let's take a look back. When did we have that transition? When did that happen?
That happened after the 70s. You can look it up.
Okay, after the 70s.
It started to decline after the 70s.
Exactly. After the 70s, we had a bunch of bozo Democrats. Exactly, you're right.
All right, man.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
I agree with you.
Democrats. Don't care.
All right, as we're talking about socialism, the social safety net, things of that nature, welfare would be something that falls under the social safety net. Prince, you think everybody should have welfare? Why? Or give me your thoughts on welfare. I don't want to say anything for you. You right here. What are your thoughts on welfare?
Like I was saying, like I don't necessarily, I don't believe in like how the system is set up now, where it's like only certain people qualify for welfare. And the reason why is because I know middle class people, right? I know people that should be middle class that make, you know, like in a household, they're making $90,000, $100,000. They got 2 kids, whatever, right?
Right.
But yet they can't afford to put their kids in daycare. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they ain't living no extravagant lifestyle. They ain't out here driving businesses and all that shit. They live in just regular. They got Honda Accord. They live in exactly how they should be living, but yet they can't afford to put their kids in daycare. So it hurts. There is no middle class anymore.
Are you speaking to people who live in California when you said that, sir? Are these people live in California?
My friends who I'm talking about, yeah, they live in California, but this is a nationwide problem.
No. The example you just gave, that's the California example, isn't it?
No, what do you mean? My friends? Yeah, they live in California. My friends that I'm talking about live in California, yes.
Okay, but I got a rebuttal to that.
I speak of is not anecdotal. I just use them as an example. So anyway,
but 45 seconds. Go ahead, P.
So what I'm saying is that I don't believe in a concept of like that only certain people should qualify for welfare. I think that there should be like everybody should receive some form of welfare, and only in America is welfare taboo. Is welfare frowned upon, right? If you go to any other country, there's tons of other countries that have social safety nets. That's literally welfare, and nobody scoffs at it. Nobody is like, well, Greenland, oh yeah, that's crazy. What do you mean? In other countries, everybody gets welfare, and it's just like, duh, why wouldn't I get a check? I contribute to this society. I should be able to afford to put my kids through college. I should be able to pay rent and not have to struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I work 40+ hours a week like everybody else does. So yes, everybody deserves welfare.
All right, Greenland, get on in there, welfare. Then after you give your point, I know it's going to be a rebuttal, but I pulled up what you were talking about Trump and the jobs. Go ahead, Greenland. I'll show that after.
Okay, here's the thing. Welfare for everybody, that sounds ludicrous because some people might have incomes doing pretty good and they have welfare, they're going to even do better. I think that's ludicrous. And secondly, I'd like to say this. That example he gave of his friends that's struggling, They're struggling because they live in California where you got crooks that's ripping people off. They got crooked Democrats running the states and robbing folks. That's what's happening. So whatever he just said, it means nothing because you can take people living in Texas, they make less. The wages in Texas is less than California, but the people live at a better level. You know, Tyrone, because y'all know where you at. The wages are less, but people don't struggle as rough as we do out here with the cost of living and rent and fuel and everything. Don't you agree?
I'm gonna stay out of it. Go ahead.
Okay, I mean, but you know the numbers. So I mean, as far as state to state, because you know California as well as you know Texas, because you know stuff because you've been around. But overall, I'm saying it's kind of like you know, we can sit up here and say everybody needs welfare. I don't think everybody needs welfare. I think some people that are on welfare, they want to get off of welfare because they would like to do better. They don't want to have a set amount of money every month because you can't really expand. You know how much you're going to get every month? You can't do nothing with that. You need to have extra money. People want to have money to travel, buy the things they like to have, live an abundant lifestyle, and have a smile on their face. You just don't want to have a welfare. Welfare gets to limitations, man. I'm not for limitations. I think the human beings don't want limitations. I don't want. I'm married, but my wife don't work. But if I had limitations, I would be a depressed man. I don't want to be a limitation. That's like an animal in a cage. He's limited. Nobody wants to be limited. I say definitely no welfare. No,
So
not for everybody. No,
no welfare for everybody, or no welfare at all.
not for everybody. No, those that need it, yes.
All right, hold on 1 second before we go to that. Let me go back to like I said, because you wanted something pulled up, so I pulled it up real quick, and I haven't got into it. But what I seen when I was scrolling through, do you guys trust NPR as a source? NPR,
yeah, it's kind of liberal. It's kind of.
I don't really care about it as a source.
It's funded by the Democrats, man. It's funded by Democrats. They fund it.
Okay, well, here we'll look at this and we'll look at another source. I just saw where it said fact check President Trump record on jobs and stocks. And let's see, blah 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 blah. Tweet.
NPR hates him.
All right. It says it's difficult to tie those gains directly to President Trump economic vision. However, on an average, employers have added 170,000 jobs of each of the 10 months since Trump has taken office. That's slightly below the 196,000 per month pace during the comparable period in 2016 under President Obama. Here, let me go ahead and say what you're gonna say. I'm gonna scroll back and look at another source too.
So basically, it's saying it is an improvement over Obama. So he did, in fact. Whether you want to give him credit for it, under his leadership, there are more employees. So
he literally just said it wasn't. He just said it was less.
No. He did say it's more than the same period of Obama. He did say that. It's more.
Here, you guys, I'll read it again.
Read it again.
Okay, read it again. He's got wax in his ears.
Let me read it again. Read it again. My son over here, he was to the left of me. He trying to jump around, throw basketballs and everything. I'm reading and making sure he don't hit me in the head with a ball. It says, let me scroll down.
One more time, brother.
Yes, indeed. It says, it's difficult to tie these gains directly to President Trump's economic vision. However, on average, employers have added 170,000 jobs in each of the 10 months since Trump took office. That's slightly below the 196,000 per month pace during the comparable period in 2016 under President Obama. Hold on, let me read some more. If you throw out September of this year, when job gains were depressed by hurricanes, Trump's monthly average is closer to Obama's at 185,000. But the change in administration doesn't appear to have had much effect on the overall job market.
Now check another publication and see. Because that's NPR. See, that's a different.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's do it like this.
What is
the source? What's the source?
When the facts don't fit your narrative, it's let's go check it. They just gave you the numbers, baby. And I don't even like Obama. I want everybody in the world.
No, I'm saying
I don't care about Obama versus Trump. I think Obama was a fucking neoliberal crony. So I don't give a fuck.
Or you can use that, or either you can use the U.S. Census Bureau, Economic Bureau. They can do it too.
Okay, I'll look at the only thing and I'm just trying to be fair about the Census Bureau is I don't know if they could add up the pace of the you know how the political climate changes. I don't know if they could add what was already going good. You see what I mean? And so let's look at this.
Let's just fact check. It's cool.
Fact check the wire. Trump twists job numbers.
Because
President Trump says his agenda is all about jobs, jobs, jobs. But at a rally in Nashville, a speech earlier the same day in Detroit, Trump made several misleading claims about jobs and the effect he has had on them since taking office. Trump boasted in 2 words. In the first 2 jobs reports since I took the oath of office, we've already added nearly 500,000 new jobs, but only one of those report pertains to Trump's time in office.
Okay.
Right. Let's look at one more.
Hey, you can pull up the Forbes report. They're independent. Forbes.
Oh, man, get out of here.
Okay, no, that was Fortune.
Forbes magazine put it out. It's independent.
Forbes ain't independent. They work for Wall Street. The fuck?
They don't got nothing to do. They ain't got to do with Trump though.
Come on, man.
I posted it the other day in our chat group, so he knows about it. He doesn't want it to pop up because he wants his.
You can look up whatever you want. Because I don't even.
Is this it right here, Greenland?
Yeah. The Forbes report. Forbes is a go-to for industrial. There it is, right there.
Okay. It says, Forbes want me to subscribe. Not right now. Forbes.
No, just click it off. Click it off.
We kind of busy, Forbes. Hold on. All right. It says, the Trump manufacturing jobs boom, 10 times Obama's over 21 months.
Hello.
All right. Let me scroll down. The Great Recession officially ended in June 2009, 6 months into former President Obama's first term.
Okay.
The economy continued to shed jobs until the following March. Manufacturing was particularly hard hit with almost 2.3 million manufacturing jobs. Some 1 in 6 lost between January 2008 and March 2010. Scroll down a little more, get to
that's under Obama. Okay, that's Obama's time period. Yeah.
All right. As is the case during recoveries, jobs bounce back with seasonal adjustment, non-farm employment expanding almost 12% from March 2010 until January 2017, when Obama handed over the presidency to Donald Trump. But during the same time period, manufacturing employment grew only 7.7%, with manufacturing payrolls virtually flat in the last 21 months of Obama's administration.
It went flat. That's right.
All right. Hold on. We were told it was the new normal. At a town hall on June 2016, President Obama famously said that those manufacturing jobs are just not going to come back. He went on to mock the candidate Trump by saying he need a magic wand to make good on manufacturing job promises. All right. Hold on.
That's deep.
Months later, as the shock of President-elect Donald Trump was still being absorbed, New York Times columnist and economicist Paul Krugman tweeted on November 25th, 2016. Nothing policy can do will bring back the lost jobs. The service sector is the future of work, but nobody wants to hear it.
That's Democrats talking, huh? About jobs are gone forever.
And I just want to keep reading just so we make sure that we get it. You know what I mean? So we make sure.
Get it right. Yeah, it's a deep story, man. It's deep. I read it.
Oh, it's deep. Yeah, so deep.
While a funny thing happened, Trump's policies, and just as importantly, the expectation of Trump's policies ignited a manufacturing resurgence.
Hello.
In the first 21 months of the Trump policy, non-farm employment grew by seasonally adjusted 2.6. In the same period, manufacturing employment grew by 3.1, reversing the trend under Obama, when overall employment grew faster than employment in the manufacturing sector. Comparing the last 21 months of Obama administration with the first 21 months of Trump's show that under Trump's watch, more than 10 times the number of manufacturing jobs was added. And we have a chart.
Can't argue about this, Prince. This is just facts.
Man, I would love to see why.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to the why.
No, I'm sorry. I wasn't saying why. I'm sorry. I've already told you. This doesn't mean anything to me. Like cool. It's a game.
Well, you close-minded, so we know that you close-minded as hell. So you know you worse than a blind deer. You don't see shit.
Cool. Yeah, I don't see the bringing back jobs and everybody still broke is helping us.
Everybody not broke.
To figure out.
Everybody not broke. It's just that you got a broke mentality.
Well, I ain't broke. That's the funny thing.
Everybody broke.
That people assume that because I care about
it right now, Doc. I sent it once. I just seen it didn't go through.
I just said you got a broke mentality. You keep saying broke.
I don't have a broke mentality. I have an actual. Never mind.
I never met a man that said broke as much as you in my life. You say broke every 5 seconds.
All right, here you guys. Let's get back on welfare. So again, Greeland, you say welfare, but only some people. Who should get welfare? How long should they get welfare? What are your thoughts? I never got to
rebut.
I'm sorry, Prince. Go ahead, Prince. My bad. I did. I'm sorry about that, Prince. I brought up that because I got to it late. Go ahead, Prince.
Yeah. So I already said who should get it, right? Like everybody, I think everybody should get it. It doesn't matter if there are some people doing good or bad. That's not, who cares? And if I'm already doing good and you give me another $1,200 a month, then what is that? That's cool. Like that's another $1,200 a month. It ain't like it hurts me. So, but if for somebody else, if they're getting another $1,200 a month on top of the money they're already generating through work, then that'll help them exponentially. So I don't understand why. What's the big deal with giving everybody welfare? I don't care if you're giving it to millionaires. It doesn't matter. What does that matter? As long as the people who need it are getting it, that's all I care about. It's all right if it goes to some random people at the top or whatever. All right, cool. I don't care. That doesn't affect us. That's all right as long as the people on the bottom are being taken care of. And secondly, he said He even said, yeah, people don't want to be poor. People want to be able to go on trips and have extra money. That's what the welfare is for. That's the whole point. Because we already working. We're already working.
Dude. Okay, whatever, man. Okay,
so I
think your time is up, brother.
Go ahead, Greeland. What you want to say?
Okay, listen up. Just to fact check right quick. You can pull up the cost of living in California versus a random state like Texas. The reason why I said that because he spoke of a friend of his make $90,000 and they're struggling. And my point is because you're in a state with crooked ass, criminal ass Democrats, and they hurting the poor people. This state is ran by Democrats. We got a second run of another Democratic governor. This place is ran by thugs, man. I'm telling you what I know. So if your friends are struggling, it's because the Democrats in this state are hurting them. The liberal Democrats like you are hurting them. So
the poorest people in this country live in the reddest states. What are you talking about?
Wait, hold on. We're not talking country right now. I'm talking about this state. First, because you mentioned that you got a friend. You just
said Texas. What are you talking about? You just said other places.
Hold on. You mentioned a friend of yours in California, and I cornered you off with that. Your friend in California is struggling making $90,000. You said, and they can't afford to do this and this and that, whatever you said. And my point is this: I'm gonna show you the reason why they're struggling. That's my only point. I'm gonna show you they struggle because $90,000 in other states is good money, but in California,
you can't make $90,000 in Texas because the pay rate is different. What are you talking? That's not how it works. Like the same job in Texas makes less money than the same job in California.
But the cost cost of living, man. But the cost of living is reasonable. Is my point.
All right, look, Greeland, there goes a chart right there. 2018 annual cost of living average, and it goes from 1 to, I would guess, what, 51? How many states?
Okay. We can't see it, Tyrone. Just read it off, bro.
You can't see it?
Not really, but you can read it off. I trust whatever you read.
Okay.
So it's the lowest cost of living is first, like the lowest cost of living is first, I'm guessing.
Yes, sir. The lowest cost of living is Mississippi. Second, we have Oklahoma, Arkansas. Then we have Missouri, Michigan. We have at number 5. Here, let me go down toward the bottom.
Okay.
We have Texas coming in at number 12. So since Green asked about Texas is number 12.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go down to the bottom. California is number 49.
Oh yeah,
horrible places to live.
Fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
It goes New York, California, District of Columbia, then Hawaii. Those are the 4 most expensive.
But Tyrone, the reason why that's irrelevant is because
it's very important.
The reason why that should be irrelevant is because if the wages were adjusted to our cost of living, then it wouldn't matter what the cost of living is, because the cost of living in America in general is higher than the cost of living in Brazil. It's higher than the cost of living in Mexico. Like it's all relative. But what it comes down to is it's all in conjunction with our wages. So how much are we making in California as opposed in relation to how much does it cost to live in California? First and foremost. Second of all, everywhere in this country, there's nowhere you can live in this country on a minimum wage job and pay rent in a 2-bedroom apartment. It doesn't exist. So even so, outside of California, where you keep trying to use that as an excuse, like, well, the cost of living in California is really high. The cost of living everywhere relative to how much they make is really high. Even in Texas, I got friends that live in Texas. It's better, it's closer, but it's still not equal. It still doesn't balance out. It's better. I'm not going to argue that it is better in other places, but it's still not good.
All right, hold up 1 second, Greeland, before we go too far. I got another chart here. Let's see. You guys are comparing California and Texas. So let me see. In 2016, the real median hourly wage in California was $19.67.
Okay.
Let me go down to Texas. In Texas, it was $17.06.
Not that far.
That's a lot. That's a lot. $2 an hour.
Huh?
$2 an hour is a lot, man. A 50-cent raise is a lot. A $2 an hour raise is a fucking lot, man.
That's not a lot of money.
And that comes from governing.com. It says governing the state and localities.
Okay. Got you.
All right, go ahead, you guys.
Okay, I was up on them. Well, what I was gonna say was this. For example, back to the problem is every state is able to run on its own perimeters as far as they could vote for higher wages. The problem with California is they vote for higher wages and then they turn around and hoodwink everybody and vote for higher taxes. And my point is, Texas and other states don't do that. They raise their minimum wage and they let the people flourish. California raised the minimum wage and then they go after more taxes. The minimum wage that we have already, that they raised, they already sucked the people up. They already screwed the people already because we went up on fuel tax, registration, our rents went up. They got legislation to charge more rent. They're trying to deregulate borderline rents. All the regulations to protect the people, they put up for bond measures and vote for vote measures so people could vote. Raise the tax on renters or don't raise it on renters. All this kind of idiotic stuff. But it's all done by Democrats, people like him. His people are doing it. Okay, he says he's not a Democrat, but he's legislating for, he's speaking on top of everything that they do. They're saying it's good.
Since you keep saying I'm a Democrat, please. I just want to put this out there for everybody. I'm honestly, since I was 18 years old, I've never voted for a Democrat.
But your policies,
I vote green. Who did you vote for in the last election?
Your policies are on point though to that stuff. Your policies are on point.
No, they're not. We don't have the same policies. I don't have democratic policies. So what are you talking about?
You just said,
All right, look.
you said everybody's oppressed because they don't have a living wage. Then I can show you states that people are able to live better than us.
The Democrats don't want a higher minimum wage. They're fighting against it. So what are you talking about?
The Democrats don't want higher wages.
No, they don't. They can pass it right now. They don't want to do it. They're also in California. You keep throwing out that. You don't even know what you're talking about, dude. In California, the Democratic Party runs California. Hold on, listen. I can't. We can't hear you anyway, man. I can't hear you anyway.
We can't hear you. Your sound went back out. And I brought a chart up of the highest tax states and the lowest tax states, just to see which one is Republican, which one is Democrat. It looks like a mix of both.
Yeah, so here's it, bro. Stop. We can't hear you. So here's the thing. In California, just so you understand, because you keep saying that the liberals and my people, and they ain't my people. I don't even vote Democrat. I've never voted for a Democrat. Never voted for a Republican. You voted for Trump. You can't say nothing to me about voting for anybody. So let's be real. So in California, the Democratic Party rules California, right? The majority of the people in California want health care for all. The majority of the people in the country want health care for all. But yet, it's still in a state that you keep saying the liberals run and they want to tax everybody and they want to give everybody everything. When the measure came in front of the governor, and came in front of the House last year, guess what? They didn't freaking pass it because Democrats are not on the side of the people. They are not progressive. They are corporatists. They are just like Republicans in better suits with better haircuts with slicker talks. That's what you got to get through your head, man. They're just like Republicans. So you keep wanting to separate the two, acting like Republicans are better or Democrats are worse or whatever.
No, I'm not saying they're better.
Fucking disgusting.
I'm not saying that they're better. I'm just giving examples of it's just coincidental that the Republican states, you got African Americans, are not starving as much as Democratic states.
What are you talking about? In Louisiana, the place with the most prisoners is Louisiana. It's a red state. It's ran by Republicans. Knock it off.
Okay.
Stop lying. These are lies.
What's your point about
the point is the most oppressed states in the country are ran by Republicans.
He can pull that up.
That's going to be a matter of semantics because
that's what I'm saying. You can't pull that up.
What your definition is.
He can pull up. He mentioned prison as a keynote. So the state that has the most incarcerated people. I don't know. He said it's Louisiana.
It does have the most incarcerated people. You can pull that up. Yes, that's true.
That was his statement. So I'm just
going pull it up.
The highest prison rate. I'm pulling it up now. And we got Anthony. Anthony wanted to jump on, and Duke Pharaoh wanted to jump on.
Let him jump on, man.
All right.
I'm about to have to jump off in a minute, so you might as well let him get on up in here.
All right. The links are sent, you guys. Let's see.
Let him in.
I just like people to know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. I'm not supporting Republican over anything. I'm just saying that it's just supposed to
You do. Greenland, stop, dude. You told me already you voted for Trump. So I don't. So out of us two, instead of levying false allegations, keep saying that they're my people and people who I support. Stop saying that, because that's not true. You voted for a Republican. I've never voted for a Republican nor a Democrat in my whole life. I've been voting since 2000, and I've been voting since the year 2000. I've never voted for a Democrat.
I don't think you vote, period. You probably don't vote, period, tell you the truth.
All right, you guys, we're going to bring up this chart, and after this chart, we're going to go ahead and let, we got somebody else. I'm not sure if it's Anthony or if it's Duke. We're going to let them in, then we'll roll on to the next topic, and we'll just kind of, we'll close it out. And Greenland is going to be debating Robert on Saturday. Is it Saturday, Greenland?
I believe it's Saturday. Yeah, I'm going to compile data tomorrow.
Yeah, and we're going to do we're going to have a timer on it, and we're going to bring data, and they're going to send the data, and we're going to go over the data so people can get their opinion off of what they see as far as the data. All right, that screen is being shared, and while that screen is being shared, hey, if you guys are here, I forgot to say it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And here, let me see who we got here. Anthony.
Oh, look at that. All right, so it's not Louisiana. What is it? Alabama, a fucking red state.
Okay.
What's that? What's that underneath it? What's that? Alaska? I think Alaska's a red state. I could be wrong because I'm pretty sure.
You're backpedaling a little bit here. Go ahead, keep backpedaling more.
The point wasn't the state. It was the red states are the most oppressive states, which they are, which is red state, red state, red state, red state. Then you got California, right? California is blue. Most people. Colorado's blue. Connecticut, blue. Delaware, blue. District of Columbia, which is not a state. Florida, red. Georgia, red. Hawaii, blue. Idaho.
What is this talking about?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Is this prisons or what?
Oh, no. No. This is not in order. I'm sorry. This is not in order. This is just.
Okay, so what are we talking about? Are we talking about states that have prisons, or what are we talking about, though?
Okay, look, it says list of U.S. states by incarceration and correctional supervision rates. So those are the by rate.
Okay.
Saying how many per state.
Okay, got you. Well, my statement was the standard of living originally of red state versus blue state, standard of living, because he's saying that the Democrats and these loose leaf left-wing liberals are going to help people facilitate more wealth and better living. Is what he was insinuating.
I didn't say that. You keep saying that, but I never said that. You keep saying that. I never said that.
I'll let you backpedal out of it. It's all right.
All right, we got Anthony here. Hold on, you guys. Let's let Anthony introduce himself and let Anthony say what's on his mind. Anthony, go ahead.
Anthony Rivers, man. You can find me on Facebook or my Facebook page, Child Support Reform USA, and you can catch me on there anytime or DM me or whatever. But I had to hop on here, man, because Prince is killing me with this socialism and basically it's really low-key communism, because basically what he's telling you is he wants to control, he believes that the government should control companies on where they go and how they operate. Well, and the whole
we already do that now.
That makes no sense. If he had a company, he'll say he doesn't care about money, but if he owned a company, he would not want the government telling him where he could go, what he's going to do with it, what company he's going to have make his products. He want, because he's not rich like that and doesn't have a company, he can say all this "what I'll do for the people" stuff, just like the politician does. But the truth is, he would not want if he built a company from $100 into a multi-million-dollar company. He would not want the government coming in and saying, "No, you can't go to China and get your stuff made. You got to get it made here." No, we want 50% or better of your income so we can give it away to people who don't have jobs. Like, this whole socialism idea is absolutely ridiculous. And then another thing that killed me about what he was saying was the fact that he gonna sit up there and say, well, he doesn't want these companies to get tax breaks, but he wants the companies to pay people more money, which makes no sense. You can sit up there and say, this is the same guy who I just heard say he don't like to make predictions, and we shouldn't make predictions, but he's making a prediction that the companies who are getting tax breaks are automatically not going to hire more people and aren't going to trickle down the wealth. That's a prediction. Like, you can't talk about the tax cut that just happened because nothing has happened yet. You keep talking about Reaganomics and the trickle down there that you don't agree with, that you didn't like, but you cannot predict what these companies are going to do right now. You can't predict that. So my thing is, how are you going to tell a company that they got to pay people more money, but at the same time say, well, we can't give them a tax break? What do you want them to do?
So let's do this right now. I'm gonna pick the biggest company in the world because they make the most money right now, right? So we're gonna look up Amazon, right? So look up how much Amazon profited last year, right? First and foremost.
That's not a good example.
That is a great example. They're the biggest company. Why not go to the top? You want to go? Who do you want to go to? You want me to?
You guys, it's Prince's turn. He got the floor. If somebody wants something,
you want me to? I just listened to Anthony just spew a gang of bullshit for 20 seconds. So you want me to go? You want me to go to Walmart? Who you want me to pick? I'm picking people that's affecting the majority of Americans. So you don't want me to pick those companies?
Don't pick the
You want
nation's
me to pick random companies? I'm picking big companies, giant companies that employ hundreds of thousands of people, right? So
you can
let's
pick
go
Uber.
Who?
You can pick Uber. That's a big corporation. They're huge.
Okay, cool. Pick Uber. Look at what they did. Look at what they're doing. Uber drivers on strike right now because they're not being paid enough. So what are you talking about?
True. That's not true.
That is true. They literally just went on strike.
I know, but they make money. They make good money.
Man, stop it, dude. Anyways, I don't care to go back and forth with nonsense. So Uber, what's it called? Amazon made.
And if you got something you want to bring up, let me know, Anthony and Greenland.
Amazon has posted 11 straight quarter, including a record 1.9 billion during the holiday. That's profit. That ain't got nothing to do with taxes. That's before taxes. So fuck your taxes. I'm talking about your profit. 1.9 billion in profit. That's after they paid everybody. They netted 1.9 billion dollars, right? Okay, that's cool. Impressive. So what? So
they made that 1.9 billion during the last 3 months of 2017.
Exactly. That ain't the whole year, right? And then so the question is, since you guys act like you understand business so much, the question is how did they make that much money? Right? The reason why they made that much money was because really, I'm talking right now. The reason why they made that much money was because they suppressed the wages of the people who work for them. That is where their largest profit margin comes from, is by not paying their people a living fucking wage, dude. That's where it comes from. And then when okay, cool, you can say that's not true, but
I'll tell you something.
Anyways, so I'm gonna finish. So what happened? So the politicians put pressure on Jeff Bezos to pay his people a minimum $15 an hour, which I hate. That's for the federal. States, we need to adjust because in California, $15 an hour is not enough. We need more like 20 plus in California. But in the feds they said $15 an hour. Cool. On a federal level, $15 an hour, bare minimum, whatever. Jeff Bezos didn't want to do it. He was fighting against it. Then he finally agreed and he caved in. Then he pulled the okie doke. Then he said, "But I'm gonna take away your
He took away something. Yeah.
Like the retirement or some shit.
Medical? He took away? The bonuses or medical? Which one was it?
I think it was the bonuses or the 401k. It was something like that. But he took away their money. He took away something else. So he didn't really. In the end, it wasn't a net. It wasn't like if the money came out of his pocket. It just came from the workers again, so he could retain his profit. So if you meaning to tell me that that's right, if you're going to sit here on an ethical level and say, that's cool, he should be able to do that because he owns.
I want to comment. I want to comment on this. I want to comment on this real quick.
Hold on, Aunt Greenland was gonna get in, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the timer again because we got more people. So I'm gonna put on the timer.
No, back to my man Prince there. Listen, first of all, a lot of things you said. I wonder how many Black entrepreneurs became millionaires out of Jeff Bezos' Amazon situations.
Oh my God! Who gives
a lot of things of people who are non-inclusive about knowing stuff, but there are other people that benefited and made money. Secondly, Amazon is an automated company, meaning that their systems help generate profit because they're able to expedite through robotic technology. There's many things because I'm in the same industry with FedEx. Okay, I own my own distribution there. They have automation. Automation creates profit, meaning that you use less people, make more profit. So you can sit up and say as many things as you want to do. Okay, doesn't mean a thing. You throw up a few hot shot points and you run off and blow away. You ain't said nothing.
You ain't said nothing. You haven't rebutted why. You haven't told me why that makes sense. I just asked you a question. You just went on some random tangent.
Automation makes profit. These people are not being deprived of a fair living wage.
Why is it? How is that right? How is that right that a man can be worth? How can a man? Why is there a man on the planet worth $70 billion? But then the vast majority of people don't make fucking enough money to live on. What are you talking about?
I just told you a lot of people businesses when Amazon became millionaires, so you just make it look like he just benefited. Other people.
I didn't say that.
Hold on,
You just
Grayling, let me
made that.
ask you this. Let me step in 1 second. Is it fair that Jeff Bezos is, would you say, made $70 billion?
He's worth $70 billion right now. Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
I guess that's the question at hand.
I'm gonna say,
Go ahead.
all right, I'm gonna say yeah, it's fair, because if I started that company, I don't want nobody like Prince coming to stop my money. If I started Amazon and I had that kind of money, damn it, I earned it. Like, I don't care what this man's talking about. And the whole thing is, we're never gonna live in this socialist utopia where we're all gonna be on even, and where everybody's gonna have this even, everybody's gonna be fair and all this shit. Even if you let the government control everything, because that's basically what he's saying. No matter how he tries to word it,
more government,
more government. That's
all
what
he
he's saying.
wants.
No matter how he tries to word it, the government's going to be involved. There's always going to be people there who are greedy at the top. So there's always going to be somebody scheming off the top. So if it wasn't Bezos, it'll be somebody in government that Prince wants to put in power to control every single thing and what's going on with these companies. I have no issue with what Bezos is doing, because Bezos just built a big factory, a warehouse right down the street from my house. You know what I mean? They employ all kinds of people.
That's right.
At the end of the day, you know, this whole minimum wage thing is ridiculous. Just like the brother was saying earlier, if you go to McDonald's or any of these places, I don't eat McDonald's, but I have gone in there, you'll see that they got kiosks getting set up and everything. So everything that he's pushing for is only going to hurt the people at the end of the day, because there's not going to be no jobs. Because you're going to go in there and you're going to order on a computer, and then you're going to get your food from the 5 little 6 people that work behind the counter and mess with the food. So this dude, see now he wants to just be an asshole and play games with there because his feelings is hurt. It makes no sense. He wants big government. Big government is what we don't want. We don't want more government. We don't want
man.
We
Be
want less taxes.
Man, come on, man.
This shit is boring, man. Y'all not saying nothing. It already happened all the way around the world. I just pointed out in Australia, they raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour in Australia, and what you saying happened, was gonna happen, didn't happen. So you fucking wrong. So I don't need to sit here and say
we don't live in Australia. We don't live in Australia.
That's a dumb argument.
Let him respond. Go ahead, Prince.
That's not how it works. But it doesn't matter. Like the system is the system. The system is the system. Money is money. Economics is economics, whether it's in this country or in another country.
It's not. No, it's not.
It is. It literally is the same thing, though, because you could see it happening. Hold on. Are we not? Do we not practice the same economic system as other countries? Do we not have similar problems to other countries? Then why wouldn't the solutions be similar? Because in this country, it's fucked up, and in Mexico, it's fucked up, and they're capitalists, right?
And you can leave too.
Fucked up, and whatever, you can just go down the line.
Leave.
All right, here, let's let them respond. Go ahead, Greeland, Anthony.
He said I could leave. Come out. So he said I could leave.
It's so bad.
Some right-wing white people shit. Do white people not say that shit to black people?
No. I'm saying
get the hell out of here.
I want you to go join.
Get the hell out of here.
All right, hold on, Prince. Let them go ahead. Go ahead, Greeland, and then Anthony.
If things are so bad here, Prince, why don't you go join the?
Nah, I try to change them. I don't leave. I don't run from a fight. I ain't never ran from a fight. I don't run, and I never been bullied. I don't run. I ain't never ran from a fight.
Hold on, Prince.
Never ran from no fight.
Listen. I want you to check it out. If it's booming like you said, I'm gonna come join you.
All right, Anthony.
And this is what I want to say. Prince keeps trying to portray that he's not a liberal and not a Democrat, which he is. But now
I'm not a Democrat.
Hold on, let him finish, Prince, and then what we'll do.
So he tries to portray this whole green party thing. But if you look at the Green Party, Jill Stein, the presidential candidate for the Green Party, when she recognized she wasn't going to win because she knew there was no chance of hell of winning, who did she give her nomination to? Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So the Green Party is just an extension of the Democratic Party.
That's it. I said that earlier.
Like, Jill Stein gave her presidential nomination to Hillary Clinton. So that tells you all you need to know about the Green Party. So all this, I'm a Green Party, that's just
progressive, all that bullshit.
Yeah. That's all that is.
Look, Three
I actually don't belong to any party, but I voted green since I was 18. I never said I was a part of a party.
3T says, y'all with these attitudes. I think they just passionate, 3Ts. But look, let's do this.
I'm cool. I don't have attitude. It's just that my man can't take hits. He gets hits and then he starts acting childish.
I think everybody's just passionate. But here, listen what we're gonna do. Let's take a second and let's just get everybody's final thoughts on the debate today and get out any last things that you guys want to say. And then next time we come back, if we come back, we'll come with direct parameters and direct, subjects. Like I said, this was something loose. It came about with something that we have going on in a little chat we have. And I said, because think, if we said this much online, imagine how much our thumbs hurt. So
yeah, really. Yeah.
So yeah. I'm glad that I wanted everybody able to verbally get it out. And so that's what we do on Soapbox Heroes. And so let's do it like this. Freeland, you give us your final thoughts, final analysis, and things you want to say, and then we'll go to Anthony, and we'll let Prince go last. But I'm going to let Prince go last because Greeland and Anthony's ideology is sort of the same. And so I want it to seem like you guys surrounding, and I'm just
well, you know what? I get clobbered. I got clobbered the other night with two of these lunatics. So
I'll let you go last too. Go ahead, but see.
Hey, I've been jumped before too.
And
I still ain't taking no L.
I can't mention his name, but Robert Kelly, he's another comedic cat. He needs his own show as a. He reminds me of
No, you can't do it, Greeland. You can't take shots at him if he ain't here.
I know.
If he was on, it'd be different, but he's not here. We can't do it.
Well, both of these cats are equivalent to Beavis and Butthead as far as I'm concerned. But Anthony makes good sense. He's a practical thinker like me. We think on a practical wavelength. This, my man Prince, he's just all over. I call him a machine gun. He just a rapid fire, out of control machine gun. He's got no basis for his stuff. He just comes up, he pull one of those twigs out of his hair, he looks at what it says at the bottom, he says the shit. So, I mean, you can't take him with a grain of salt what he says.
All right, Greeley, come on, get to what you think. You don't got to get on the personal. Okay. You got to remember, he got the last word. So you can get personal as you want, but he got the last word and you might regret it. So
I want him to bring the heat because he's always full of heat. But
go ahead. You can say what you want. Just don't forget he got the last word. Go ahead.
I let him shoot that machine gun. He's been shooting it all day. All I want to say is this. Socialism is a failure for a giant like the United States. It's too big. In other words, I just told you, one of our states along California is one of the 10 biggest economies on that list you read off of countries with socialism. We're too big for that. We're above that. We have resources. We can generate. We can survive. We don't need that. Certain countries probably need socialism to survive. They don't have any minerals. They don't have any industry. They need to have it. They're basically welfare countries because they don't have resources. He got to understand that, but I guess he didn't take a class of economics, so he's kind of dumb on that. But nevertheless, that's what's going on. Capitalism is free market. If Anthony decides to make a company and I join him, it turns into a giant. That's what it was meant to be. Because you know why? We had a concept that was needed by the people. Amazon is successful because it's a needed service by the people. Amazon didn't become a giant just because of an accident. It is a needed service. People love Amazon. I use Amazon. Everybody uses it. There's companies that order from Amazon. Ford Motor Company buys screws from Amazon because they undercut industries. Guess what? That's called free market, free trade. I rest my case.
All right, and thank you, Greeland. And like I said, I'm gonna have to mute you guys as we go because you done took some shots at Prince, and I don't know what he gonna say back, but you guys, I gotta let him say what he gotta say now. Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this, Black people got to get away from this whole socialist ideology. Like this is really gonna work. If you look at socialism, there is a form of socialism in this country, and it's called welfare. And welfare destroyed the Black community. If you look at the Black community before welfare policies, we were with the number one leading in marriage in this country. We were that. I know that's hard to believe now, but at one point in time, we were the number one in all races marriage in this country before the socialist welfare policies came in and kicked the black man out the house. So that's one thing. Number two is, if I start a company today, because any of us can still do this. Like right now, there's a boom in making apps. If you come up with an app right now, or come up with a business right now, and you can generate cash, you don't want the government coming in and telling you what you can do with that company, what you have to pay people, what you can't go, if you come up with another idea from there, well, you can't go over to China and get the app made because you can get it made for cheaper. You got to get it made here. You don't want the government all in your business. So that's another thing. We want less government, not more government. And that's what socialism is. And it's really like almost like communism. They're trying to control everything that's going on. Number two is the same liberals that he's defending. He says he's not a Democrat, but in my opinion, Prince is a Democrat and he's definitely a liberal. He's cool with immigration. He tries to use this pro-black theme that because they took the land, we should just let everybody in. If you look at California is in debt. It's in debt. They don't even have enough money to finish the speed rails that they're trying to build in California because they don't have any money. And you're just letting people just come over the border and come over and flood in and flood in. Immigration is bad for Black Americans. If you look at like Detroit, for example, you'll see that the Arabs own all the gas stations, the Indians own all the gas stations. And Detroit is the blackest city, one of the blackest cities in the country. So any immigration, legal or illegal, is bad for Black Americans. So this whole, I gotta show the cause and put the fist up that I'm pro-Black and gonna let everybody in, that's ridiculous. So basically what I'm trying to get at is this whole socialist mind state of we don't want to give tax breaks, but we want the companies to pay more people, pay people more. It just makes no sense. So, I'm not really going to attack the brother on a personal level. I just think that he feels like he's not getting a fair shake in this capitalism system, which we all are. Are there some things in this country that's stopping us? I would say more like banks discriminating against us, but not the actual capitalist system. And we can go around that if we build our own banks. So that goes to group economics. We have to work on our own thing, not sit around and try to tear it down, because there's a lot of opportunity in the capitalist system if you work it right. And if you come up with ideas, and if you're going to school and you're trying to build something. And and I don't believe, and even when it comes to the job, I'm about to finish up with this last point.
Okay.
I don't believe that Black people just need jobs. We need companies. We need our own companies. We need our own businesses. A job don't just mean you got a job. And see, that's the whole mind state of the socialists. Oh, well, a free living wage and all this. And just like the brother Greenland was saying, you look at a country like Iceland. Iceland is a socialist country. But like Greenland was saying, they don't have any minerals. They don't have anything. And they're a small country. Iceland is not having an immigration boom where Mexicans is climbing across the border. They don't have the same issues. So yeah, socialism can work in a place like Iceland, but not here in America. And that's it. I'm done.
All right, you guys are here. And before we get out of here, I want to tell everybody, thank you, P. I'm coming to you. I just want to tell everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. If you've liked, if you're here, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed before, subscribe. This is what we do. I'm glad everybody got a chance to see different perspectives, different points of view. If there's something we missed and didn't look up, I would encourage you to go look it up for yourself and come up with your own train of thought. And these gentlemen here are just giving you a glimpse inside their thoughts, which takes a lot of courage. So I want to thank them. Prince, you got the last word. I'm not going to say nothing else. When you're done, just put your hand up. I'm going to end the show.
Okay, so I wanted first, just real quick before I get into my final thought, I just want to point out the fact that you guys could Google it, because I just did. Jill Stein never endorsed Hillary Clinton, so he was wrong. I'm not gonna say he was lying. I don't know who told him that, but you could look it up right now while I do this, and if you can find anything, I'll be whatever, you know. Secondly, so I don't listen to Black Republicans tell me anything about Black people. Honestly, you can't. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you vote for Donald Trump and you support the Republican Party, and you talking about you want to see Black people prosper, I mean, I'm not denouncing you as like a human being. I'm just saying your ideology. I don't think you really understand what's going on. So I don't really, I had this discussion. I like to have this discussion, not even for the people that's on this panel per se, but for other people out there, so that maybe they could hear some new ideas that they didn't hear, because I don't really expect to get across to the to a mind that thinks like that. A person that could somehow thinks that supporting Republican Party, supporting somebody like Donald Trump is going to help Black people. Like I don't understand that. I've heard so many times, and it's the default argument of a right winger to say of a person like me that I'm supporting Democrats or liberals or whatever, and they make these blanketed statements. But yet, if anybody that's been watching, if you guys go back, go listen to any one time I ever defended any Democrat on a personal level. I never defended one. I never defended Gavin Newsom. I never defended Hillary Clinton. I never defended Barack Obama. I never defended any Democrat. I've never voted for any of these people. I typically don't like those people. So I don't know where it's just their mind is, they only see in black and white. They lack the ability to see the world in an abstract way. And they are so, it is so ingrained in them, this ideology or this idea that we can't get ahead by sharing, which is crazy to me, because Anthony talks about group economics. Socialism is group economics on a national level. That's all it is. So if you believe in group economics, I don't think you, once again, I have to say this, I don't think you really understand what group economics is. All it is just sharing in the profits. Also, socialism and communism are two different things. Communists believe that, just so you know, communists believe in no government. They believe in no currency. They want to get rid of all money. That's what communists believe in. And the only way communism can work in the world is if the whole world is practicing communism. Because if I'm France and I'm a communist country and I do away with my currency, I can't go outside of my country. I can't, what am I going to do? I don't have money now. I don't have any currency when the rest of the world is running on currency. You see what I'm saying? So communism doesn't work in this world. I'm not for communism, to be honest with you. Like in this system, in theory, it sounds better than what we have right now, but I'm not pushing communism. I don't have any, that's not even in my lexicon. I don't even use the word communism. But socialism, and more importantly, democratic socialism, is this. If you own a company and you have 50 people working for you, everybody in that company shares revenue. Everybody in that company has a vote. You can still have a private company. You can still make money. The government isn't in control of your company. That is not what socialism teaches. That is what they think socialism teaches, because that's what right-wingers preach to brainwash you. Oh, fear socialism. Nobody's afraid of that shit but ignorant people, to be honest with you. If you're educated, then you're not afraid of socialism. So nobody is sitting, I'm not telling anybody that the government should run private industry. I don't believe that. But definitely there should be parameters set up in private industry, because those parameters, in other words, regulations, they protect the people. So why wouldn't you want that? You don't want the oil company just to be able to do whatever they want to do, right? If you own some land and an oil company wants to drill on your land and you're like, no, I don't want you to be able to drill on my land. You want laws and regulations set up so they can't do that. Even if it ain't on your land, even if it's in your backyard, you got some nice property in Montana or in Arkansas or whatever, and you got a river running in the back of your fucking land. You don't want Exxon to be able to start fracking on your land or next to your land and releasing toxic fumes into the atmosphere. That's what regulations do. They're supposed to protect us as the citizens. Does the government and the people, more importantly, in the government, take advantage of that? Absolutely. But I'm not here to debate on a personal level or from politician to politician. I'm not here for that discussion. You keep wanting to throw out names. Cool, you never heard me rebuttal to anybody. I've never said anything. I've never defended one fucking politician personally. Even Jill Stein, I just all I'm doing is stating facts. All y'all doing is projecting and telling me what can't be done and it's never gonna work when it's already working in this country, like I already pointed out. So in closing, there is no reason for you to fear socialism. And furthermore, if you are black and you sitting here and you want to talk about being pro-black, the Black Panther Party was a socialist party. Martin Luther King was a fucking socialist. And y'all not doing shit voting for Republicans and supporting Republican ideology and supporting the Republican platform. That's not going to help. Hey, that is not going to help you, and that's not going to help me. And furthermore, it's not going to help just the general public. I don't give a fuck about an immigrant. I don't care to deny an immigrant to come into America, nor do I care to fight for them to come into America. I don't care one way or another. That shit is like, same thing with gay rights. I already explained this earlier. That shit is so far down my list that it doesn't affect on a day-to-day. I don't think about fucking immigrants. I'm not worried about what an immigrant is doing. I don't care. That doesn't affect me today. Immigrants aren't stealing my job. They're not taking money out of my pocket.
Yes, they are. They're stealing black people's jobs. You're supposed to be pro.
What's happening right now?
They're stealing black people's jobs.
Oh, hold on, my bad. Sorry about that. It unmuted. Hold on, and let me say something real quick, P, because I don't want to be rude to nobody. I think that if you guys can, and if you would like, and I would also ask Robert, and if somebody else is watching, maybe we should do a debate on socialism, because we do have differences of opinion in socialism, and we should do a debate on immigration.
I gotta say one thing to what he just said, which is hey, I can't let you add his last word. Hold on.
All right, you still have a last word. Go ahead.
But why? I want to ask Prince one question. Why are you ignoring the fact that socialism and welfare policies destroy the black community? Is that true or is that a lie?
It's a lie.
Oh my God.
All right. That's his opinion, you guys. You asked
talk about ideology. All right.
That's some hypocritical stuff
that's
there,
something
bro.
we need to debate separately. You see what I'm saying? That'll be a different debate. Go ahead, Prince. Go ahead and finish.
Okay, so like I was saying, I don't care about what an immigrant is doing or not doing. That shit doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. I don't think about what immigrants are doing. An immigrant has never stolen my job. I've never really felt the negative impact of financially from an immigrant. Now, I just want to give a little back. I grew up in Long Beach. I grew up around gangbangers. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Gangbanging and all that shit was at a fever pitch, right? I got shot at so many times. I done had to knock out so many Mexicans for banging on me just for being black. So don't get me on a personal level. I get it, man. They racist. They come in here. That's a totally different fucking discussion. But we talking economically right now, right? I don't have no problem with immigrants coming over here. And that's just, and honestly, that was just Mexicans. There's so many different immigrants. Those are just the immigrants that I dealt with. Mexican gangbangers specifically, not all Mexicans, but Mexican gangbangers specifically. The Asian immigrants that came over here, some of my best friends was Asian. They didn't have no problem with me. We was cool. So not all immigrants are the same, and not all immigrants are affecting us in the same way. And the numbers show that immigrants overall put more into this economy than they take out. So saying that they're costing us money is a lie.
Give us your final thoughts, because if you go in on immigration, I'm gonna have to give their rebuttals on immigration.
No, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. I'm done.
You should let us say something on it.
Huh?
Yeah, we can stay on here a little bit longer, man, unless you got something to do.
I gotta get on. Y'all see this? I gotta go. He on me.
I was gonna end it because I know Prince said earlier that he had to go, and I know
that
waiting.
But you know,
Anthony got his baby on him too, so I'm about to dip up out of here. I'm gonna have to holler back. I already see.
Well, look, y'all, let's go ahead and shut it down, and we could come up with actual Prince debate. And if you guys,
I would love to debate Prince on immigration and socialism, because the Asians run the Harris businesses. the Indians and Arabs own all the corner stores and gas stations. I mean, I would just love to debate this guy on this.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
All right. Well, here, let's get it done. I'll ask Prince and I'll ask Robert if he want to join in as well. And Greeland and Robert are going to be debating, I think it's Saturday or Sunday, on the economic differences, I think, in between capitalism and socialism or something to that effect. So we will do it. And like I said, this is a topic that we've been bouncing around on the socialism thing a lot. And we have a bunch of different points of view, but we've never really just focused in on it as a debate. So maybe we could gather some data, come back and debate it.
All right, that'll work. It was nice meeting you, Greenland, man.
You too, man.
Good points, man.
I've seen you on a couple of times. I watched you a couple of times.
All right, you guys. And Anthony, you in the group. We added you to the little conversation group yesterday.
Yeah, I seen it.
All right, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you're watching, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. This is Soapbox Heroes. Thank you, gentlemen. It was nice and spirited in the middle of the day.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was good. Well received. Thank you very much.
All right. See you later, Greenland. See you later, Ant.